Finchman of the somebody will hear that now, some producer go, that's very good. Can you do more of that? We want you to go national. You have
well, you are international.
Hey, huh?
You are international.
Yeah, actually, it's true. We've been getting calls from San Francisco, believe it or not, from Canada, New York, Tennessee, Connecticut. This iHeartRadio thing is really blasting out.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're rebuilding the entire Rhett Palmer site and getting an app made so we can promote our own app, of course, just in case there should ever be a conflict between me and, the company we're presently saying. So a beautiful, delicious cup of coffee, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. B.
Thank you, Mr. B. Hey, Mr. B, how are you? Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You take the best care of anybody ever has done for this show. Is he easy to work with? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, So this guy's tremendous. Even Oscar, he calls him before July 4th. Oscar just, want to make sure you're going to be in there with Ken, the day after July 4th. Then after July 4th,
he calls again just to confirm.
He calls
we weren't there before July 4th, so. He's a good.
And Oscar comes in here and says, I just want to tell you about Mr. B. And I tell you what, it's nice. I finally have, this guy is the best I've ever had. I hate to say it, though, because next thing you know, he'll be wanting a raise or something. So
he deserves it. Just don't put him on the pole.
Wait till we start making some more money. Then we can, Mr. B, your next effort, of course, afternoons now, will be out selling the show. He makes a good appearance. Let me see your smile. Did you get you didn't get that tooth fixed yet, huh? When are you going to get that tooth fixed?
Dr. Plains and I are working on that.
Good. Dr. Plains, who's exceptional, by the way. And you can see him. He's got a good haircut. You're looking well-groomed. Of course, he's got his little diamond in his ear. So, and he is our token liberal Democrat, right? Let's have a round of applause for our token liberal Democrat.
Yeah.
We don't hear anything.
No.
Crickets. Ding, ding, ding.
So anyway, boy, a lot of that going on, huh? See, in this studio, the liberals, the Democrats, the Republicans, the conservatives, we all get along. That's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, if they do not, if that doesn't begin to happen out in the United States of America and in Washington D.C., then we're going to be in great and grand trouble,
Yep.
Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
They've got Washington needs adult supervision. So.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, a lot of exciting things coming up. David, how you been?
Very good, thank you.
It's so good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Hey, look, we kind of have like similar shirts in some weird kind of a way. Like I have this navy blue with little speckles of white, and you've got this white shirt on. Has little. What are those? Oh, little
Flamingos.
Little tiny flamingos. Little tiny flamingos.
Wonderful.
Who got you that? It had to be a female.
I got it myself.
You did, really? I like it. It's a whole new
People
thing.
often ask me, who dresses you? I dress myself.
And how long have you been dressing yourself?
Quite a while.
Several years. Several years.
Yes, and
More than 50.
more than 50. Yes, that's
Well, I
right.
can't say that myself.
Almost double, right? It's amazing.
Let's go into it.
Let's go. No.
Any kind of flaw you might have, anything you don't want to be revealed, just tell Rhett, and the world will know. The world will know everything.
Yes. So
Every
when did
flaw.
you come out of the closet as a gay man? I'm only kidding. Now, hopefully, though, you wouldn't mind. That being said, I hope you'll be my date tonight, because I don't think Barbara's coming with me. So
You know I'm not going to be your date tonight or any other night.
It's a saying among young people. There's
Yeah,
no.
well,
But
So you can wrestle up a young person then.
No, you need to come. Tell us about the event. This is big news because there's a lot of things going on with Riverside Theater. Did you know they're actually building their own hotel?
Yes, we are. It's
Yeah.
our Actors Village project.
Actors Village project.
We're going to build a 61-bedroom facility out by historic Dodgertown.
I bet you that's Don's property out there. Am I right? Did Don sell you that property, Don Proctor?
I don't. I.
Is he doing the building with Mr. Kite?
He is the construction manager. Yes.
For the benefit of Mr. Kite, there will be a show tonight on trampoline. Well, Keith Kite, he's the guy that
Yes,
owns
yes.
the.
He was instrumental in
Well,
helping
instrumental.
us finding the
Yeah.
land, the property.
There is a need for more hotels.
Oh my word!
Well, we did it primarily for our actors and our visiting artists. Like Ken, when he comes, he'll be there. We rent 25 apartments in the area for all the people that come and visit us, and so in essence, we run a hotel for all those 20.
The hospital,
places,
also rents 25 units for
It's-
people coming to visit patients at the hospital.
It's important for,
So there is a need for
more space. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, this Keith Kite guy, he apparently puts together deals. You know, in the business world, you can put in sweat equity, you can put in equity.
Mm-hmm.
And so he puts together these deals. That's how they built that thing over by Grand Harbor. What's it called?
Spring Hill Suites.
Spring Hill Suites. And then now he put together the deal. I know that Don's one of the owners in the new Hampton Inn.
Yes.
I happen to like Hampton Inns.
I stayed there last night. It's fantastic.
Oh, you stayed at this one?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Oh yeah. Just had the breakfast this morning. It was awesome.
Free breakfast. And
Yeah.
you didn't bring me any?
Well,
Yeah.
who knew?
I know.
I thought Mr. B would have something for you, but you're probably not a breakfast person anyway.
He's an all-day food person, believe me.
Actually, when I was your son's age, Sebastian's age,
Yes.
and he is 10, right?
Yes.
So Sebastian, when I was your age, and he's in the studio, by the way, with his beautiful sister.
Alyssa.
Yeah, and when I was your age, my mom would make me fried eggs in the morning before I went to school, and I would just push them around the plate. I hated anything, any food in the morning. Blah.
You've gotten over that.
Blah. He this is his thing. Some jackbutt came into town and heard me talking about David's age. Now I always brought up David's age because actually it's in reverence. It is because you know I didn't have a dad growing up, so for me he's kind of like a
Surrogate dad.
yeah, surrogate dad. So he has a lot of wisdom. So I bring this up to this other guy. He goes, well, when he brings up your age, why don't you bring up his girth? So he's always talking about how much I eat and my overweightness because this is in response. And this is what and you know what?
As you
You know
care
what?
about,
You know what the Bible-
wait a minute. As you care about me, about my age,
Yeah.
and you're so thoughtful about it, I am careful about and thoughtful about your girth. I'm concerned about it.
The Bible says in the book of Proverbs, it says that a person now listen to this, everybody listening to me, including you, Mr. B, everybody, and kids, listen to this. A person repeats a matter in an attempt to separate friends. Watch it in life. Listen, this is in Proverbs. Remember, this is Solomon wrote these things. Wisest guy ever lived. Somebody comes up to you and says, hey, did you know this? Oh, you're friends with Rhett. Well, did you know one time in his life he did this? Why are they repeating that? It's only to separate friends. Beware. Watch your life. Watch your life. And the same people that will come and try to separate you, when they walk away from you, they're doing the same thing about you to somebody else.
Sure.
Gossipers, mongers, so Sebastian, don't be talking about people. Hey, you want to come over here and say hi in the microphone, Sebastian? No, you don't? Aw, such a sweet boy, you know. And Alyssa, do you want to come over and say hi? No.
They're just excited to be in the
Well,
studio.
they're the children of Oscar,
Oh.
Riverside Oscar.
Wow.
I mean, you're Mr. Showbiz, but really, you're always behind the scenes over there. But were you ever in the front? Were you an actor?
In college, I loved acting, but then I realized that I couldn't make it on the stage only because of me personally would hold myself back. My insecurities would like, what do you mean I'm too tall? What do you mean I'm too short? What do you mean I'm too fat? What do you mean I'm too skinny? That sort of saying, I'm sorry, you're not right for the part, would have eaten me up. So to get involved rather than to be on the stage, I'm sort of behind the scenes, and I'm happy for that.
You know, my latter years, I'd like to write a book on rejection. I think rejection and fear. I think more careers are ruined by fear and by rejection than anything else. You know, I used to go to New York City with my songs, And I was 19 years of age. I got turned down by every publisher 3 times. I had a stack of rejection slips from Nashville and New York and L.A., and I called it my wall of success. And someday I was going to decoupage a wall and say, that's my wall. I fell forward to success. But you know what I did? The rejection gets to you, and finally you stop going. And you won't admit that you quit. Because I don't quit. But when's the last time you when's the last time you auditioned for a part? When's the last time you went for that new job? When's the last time you dreamed that you could step out of the rut you've got yourself into? Whoever you are listening to this broadcast, it takes guts, you know?
That's why I really admire actors, all the actors that come to the theater. Their passion to perform supersedes any rejection or any hardship they have to go
And
through.
financial. I mean, 1 week you can be making thousands of dollars, but then the end of the month, you know, you've had a 2-week run, or you've had a month run, you've had a 3-month run. All of a sudden, you're on Broadway and you're making $20,000 a week. Let's say you're the star or something, or 20, whatever it is. And then the next thing you know is, I remember when I interviewed one of the producers for the Dick Van Dyke, not the old Dick Van Dyke show, the new one with his son, where they were both, I think they were both doctors in it. Do you remember that? Well, no, his son was a detective and he was the doctor.
Diagnosis Murder?
Yeah.
There you go.
And I interviewed Jeff Greenwald or Greenstein or something or other. Anyway, he and I were talking. He says, Rhett, he knew he was on top at the moment. He says, I live in a modest home. I see more people in Hollywood. They're making, $1 million a year. And then they buy this outrageous house. First of all, when it comes time to sell it, you can't sell it. You never want to have the most expensive house on the block. But all of a sudden, then the money's not coming in. Better to live modest, because,
Well, I wonder what Ken's experiences are with that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The asymmetrical nature of being an artist is, 1 week, you got plenty of gigs, everything's going great, and then the next week you're looking at an empty calendar going, I better go, wait some tables somewhere or something,
That can be scary.
Luckily for me, I got the gig at Howl at the Moon pretty much right out of college. I was about 22 or 23 when I started working at Howl at the Moon. And
Really?
all my friends kind of, they kind of gave me grief about it. They're like, you're a serious musician. Why are you playing, you go up there, telling jokes and kind of...
Well, why did the Beatles play 10 hours a night, 7 days a week before they were the Beatles?
Exactly,
That's made you a greater musician.
Well, I'm the atypical musician. I've had a steady gig for 20 years with the same company, with benefits and paid vacations
the
and the whole
Riverside?
thing.
No,
this is just where I work at Howl at the Moon. Like when we do the Howl at the Moon experience at the Riverside, it's it's dueling pianos, but I've been working for the company Howl at the Moon.
I didn't know there was a company.
Oh yeah. They have 14 stores in the U.S. and they're on the NCL
What do they
cruise
sell?
ships. They're just a dueling piano bar. That's the whole thing. That's the whole experience. That's what we bring to Riverside, is that dueling pianos.
I thought you guys owned Howl at the Moon.
No.
Oh. So you're going to be playing tonight at the big event?
Yeah. I'll be. I won't be outside for the big event, but I'll be. The people that
Doing
come.
the show inside.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
be doing the show inside
That's tonight
for
at
everybody.
Riverside because they're celebrating,
The grand opening of our outdoor bar and grill.
and everybody in the sound of my voice is invited.
Absolutely. Come
Starts
on
at 6
down.
o'clock.
6 o'clock, ribbon cutting. Everyone have a good old time.
All right, we're going to take a little break. Today's broadcast brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Fort Pierce. Get yourself a fabulous deal on used Mercedes right now. You will love the way you'll be treated at Fort Pierce Mercedes-Benz. This is the mayor of the airwaves. We'll be right back. It's not over yet. All right, thank you.
Wow.
There we go.
There we go.
That was so...
So I'll just watch that little clock over there when it gets to about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll.
He's got the live read spot in. I'm going to take those out since you're back here live.
Okay, but go ahead and play it.
It is playing right now. Listen, I back timed this so you have about 45 seconds.
Okay.
So put your headphones on.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to use those? All right.
Yeah,
I got
I'm-
to turn them up.
Okay.
And when you hear you're listening to the mayor of the airways, start
playing. Okay, gotcha.
When you hear him say that, he says that. That's
Is
actually
he your
recording.
announcer?
You're listening to, hey,
Well, he has that deep, low voice.
by the way, David would be great if you needed recorded stuff. He's been doing ads nationally and stuff like this lately. Our own talent right here. Can you imagine having, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Riverside Theater, which is run on your donations. Make your donation today to the Riverside Theater.
Yes. I just went to a seminar in New York, And there's a fellow there that he said he did 20 commercials a day when he was starting out. He did 20 auditions a day until for a solid month. And he said, I'm not going to do any more. I'm not getting anything. I'll do one more. That one more brought him Budweiser, Subaru, host of
Really?
national big companies.
Wow.
Never give up.
Do you, by the way, know how to tune it's a 6-stringer.
That sounds good.
Went down to see Ma the other day. Ma didn't have too much to say. I saw Sebastian and I listened too. I said, hey, what you wanna do to do-see-do? Hoo-hoo.
This is the last 30 second spot, Ken, and then the rejoin is next, and then you start playing.
What do you mean? What do you mean? The news is coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, but he'll have about 40 seconds to play
Oh, okay.
going into the news.
Oh, okay. What are you gonna play?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
You want to do something
I'll
together
follow
like that? Just how about D? That's D. I don't know what key this is in.
I'll follow you. G.
That's a G. That D.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. What's that?
D. C.
Really? It's another beautiful day here in Vero Beach, they say. Hey, it's a great show coming up tonight. 6 o'clock, everybody's invited to the Riverside Theater. They're going to have live music with you.
Me. And Howl at the Moon. And they're going to be having their grand opening of their new outside bar area.
You're fine. You're fine.
Nice howl to the news.
That was just cute. Thank you.
You guys like my little, no, what key, what is that?
That's F.
F. See, they said it's a different tuning.
That's F, yeah.
Nice howl to the news.
No.
Worked out perfect. Figure let him play.
Yes, no, that's fine. Absolutely.
We gotta do some recording or something sometime.
Last time
Yeah, I'm
Just the
around.
chords you pick inspire me. I mean, just the sound you put behind it, you know.
they did it
Yeah,
in
well, you know,
Hollywood.
fills it out. That's
Started
part of
to
being a
play
producer.
something,
Like when
you
I do
just
produce
jam
tracks, you know.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I got a little home studio. You know, I
Oh,
work.
really?
I work with, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, I do a lot of stuff for Howl at
Is
the
it
Moon. when
not
they-
here in Vero? That's
No,
in
no,
Orlando.
no. In Orlando.
How long of a drive is from here to your house?
Absolutely.
Not too bad. About if I do it at 2 in the morning, then it's
Hello.
about an hour and a half. If it's during the day, then maybe
Couple
2
hours.
hours. But
Yeah.
I take 512 in through Sebastian and kind of wind through the back roads that way.
You're
So
into the ABBA.
It's not too bad, though.
Yeah, so you're a musician,
Okay, all right.
producer. You're a musician,
Yeah,
producer,
it's a
arranger.
great play.
yeah, I do.
Vince Lombardi.
Pretty much if somebody's paying, I'm doing it.
All right, let me pay attention. To
I get a lot of singers too that are like, hey, I got an original song and I want to record it with a band, but
You don't seem to have the typical ego, though, of a lot of the musicians.
yeah,
You know what I'm talking? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you can see it in yourself. There's a lot of guys out there. You know the type I'm talking about. That
Oh, yeah.
They're unteachable. They're arrogant.
Yeah.
Because one thing I've noticed is that they're really successful. Mick Jagger,
yeah,
he may prance around that stage. The guy's got humility.
yeah. All the
Ringo
best
Starr.
ones, yeah. All the
I've
best
been right
musicians.
in the same room with Ringo Starr. He has humility.
Yeah,
So you're gonna say the same thing?
Yeah.
They're all teachable. They're not. There's not an arrogance.
No.
I mean, look at how bright Bob Dylan is. He's a freaking genius.
Yeah.
That guy's a genius, and yet he's actually humble behind it all. And
Yeah.
he's
Well, the best musicians I've met, the ones that are really, really competent tend to be the ones that are, you know, like the guys that are arrogant, they're usually hiding some real deep insecurities about themselves. Whereas the guys that are,
Yeah.
you know, really, really
that's it.
secure in
You seem
themselves,
like a normal guy.
they tend
Now,
to
you're
be just
married.
humble. Yeah.
You have kids?
Yeah, I got 2 kids.
Do you? How old?
14 and 16.
Really? That's
so,
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
You
it's
don't look
cool.
old enough to have kids, though, does he?
I started young.
How come Oscar has the gray hair and you don't?
I got it. It's just in here right now. I got to
Well, you
catch
do
up
know
to
you're
him.
at the peak right now. You need to really enjoy this because your hair, you look like doesn't he look like looks like a movie star with that gray hair. Perfectly salt and pepper. He's a perfect salt and pepper guy. How he got that? Don't know who, where, or why. That's Oscar from Riverside. He's got 2 beautiful kids, you know. Sometimes they come to the radio show. I hope I don't treat them unkind.
That's a great sounding little guitar, man. Sounds like a ukulele a little bit.
Well, that's what it is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, this is called a gitalele.
A ukulele, yep.
A gitalele.
See, I play ukulele.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I want to get a banjo lele. Have you seen that one? It looks like a banjo, but it's a
No.
ukulele tuning, so you can get like a banjo sound. But
Well, the reason I did this is because I get to play all my same chords.
yeah, it's all
But
the
it
same.
sounds like
It does sound like a ukulele. It sounds great. I love it.
Are you a musician?
I play the organ.
You play the organ? I'm not touching that. But, you know, there is once in a while, you just go into a store. You know, this was $99.
Yeah.
But you go in and you put something in here and you go, you can't let this one go.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Last spot, Rhett.
You know,
open
there's
us
a
next.
famous songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee. He's an old guy. He's not alive anymore, but he said, I went to the Songwriters Hall of Fame with him. I'd like to remember his name because nobody knows his name because he was always behind the scenes. But yeah, cool. For this gentleman who's with us today, Ken Gustafson. Yay! Even the kids love Ken. And the kid and Rhett loves Ken. You know that? Now listen, enjoy your youth, kids. We got kids in the studio today. We have Sebastian and Alyssa. How are you two doing? You having fun? Yes? Okay, they're nodding. It's radio. You're not supposed to nod, but it's okay.
They can't see that.
But you know what? You're kids. You can get away with anything in here because Rhett Palmer loves kids. That's right. Because, why? His 5-year-old is still alive in here and they ain't letting nobody kill him. That's right. That's right. Keep the child alive. Watch out for the adults. They become mean and ugly beasts walking the streets. Yes.
Good advice for children.
Huh? What is that?
He said good advice for children.
Good advice for children. Never grow up. Never.
Never.
Ken, you're fabulous. It's great to have you back in the studio. I don't know what it is about this musician guy, but I like. We got to do some work together.
Yeah,
I
I'd
want to
love
come to
to.
your studio in Orlando sometime.
Yeah, I just got a little home studio.
He's
You
just
know.
so easy. He's so easy. You like that song. And you picked that song. That's a great talk. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
so good, man. You got something else in mind or what?
No, I was just. Yeah, I love bossa
You love this
nova.
song? So right now, Rhett Palmer's Dreams. I'm over at Ken's studio, and we record this, and it comes out so fabulous that we release it, and it becomes a big hit again.
Absolutely.
Next thing you know is I'm going around the world singing the former mayor of the airways. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Ready?
I'm ready. Oh, it's
I
just
love
ended.
that. I
Sorry,
love that. I
just-
love that. That's right.
I hit the ending button.
And I brought in my Gittalele for show and tell.
Nice.
You know. Or maybe we should start and say, how about this one? What is that? See, I have different tuning, so we'll go from that
Okay.
to this.
You got it.
It's almost the same chord. Well, it's supposed to be like an F.
Yeah.
Or from the F position again,
Yeah.
right? But that's not an F on this. What is that on this?
Maybe. It's more like a B flat major
And
7.
this is
F. That's F.
Well, anyway, we don't. I don't want to bore you with my stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But the good news is that Ken will be live and in person. Are you kids coming tonight? Are kids allowed to come or no? Is it more of an adult event tonight?
It's more of an adult event. I
Okay.
mean, the beauty of Ken and his cohort musician is
Yeah.
that the audience is the one who gets to choose the song, so they can play "Girl
Cool.
from Ipanema." We should see if any of your listeners come tonight and if they request that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what made you pull that one out of the hat, but don't you love that
I
song,
love
David?
it, yeah.
That's called Bossa Nova.
Bossa Nova, yeah. That's
Bossa Nova
Antonio
style.
Carlos Jobim. Is the guy? Yeah, I have a jazz trio too, so I get to play. You know, I play rock and roll at the Howl at the Moon
Is there
show.
anything
That's
you
know.
don't do? It's got a jazz chord.
Yeah, so that's one of my jazz
for hire
standards.
for your next private party.
That's right.
You know, that would be a good idea, actually, when you're playing the Riverside, to have some really elegant cards made up.
I do have
mean,
them, actually.
Not regular cards, but are they bigger than normal?
No, they're just normal. But see, because I'm with Howl at the Moon at the Riverside, I give out their promotional
Oh,
materials
okay,
because
okay.
it's their event, and
Okay, well,
you know,
well, we'll talk on the side.
yeah.
I got an idea for you, kid. There. Well, because people in this town is in season.
Oh yeah.
Well, you'd be get that calendar filled up. Of course, the calendar's the goose that lays the golden egg.
Yes, indeed.
And when you're a
Indeed.
musician, you need those gigs. So support an artist today and hire Ken for your next party or event. And you can hire your.
You can hire Howl at the Moon too. I mean, I've
Yeah.
done events at John's Island Club.
Really?
Yeah. They've hired us out. You know.
So there's two of you. It's dueling piano.
Yes, it's and I always have a different partner. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's not me. Sometimes it's two completely different piano players. There's always two piano players, and we're always just taking requests. And I bring my accordion, and it's just a big party, and
Plays
everybody
the
dances.
accordion too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Don't you play the accordion?
No, but I had a dream as a child. This is true. I really should put it in book form. It's a full, like a movie. I had this little. I was 14 years of age, and I'll tell this
It's
story
totally
because
cool. This is extraordinary.
What?
When I was 14, I remember this. When I was 11, I did this. I mean, extraordinary.
Well, this is an extraordinary dream, and I dreamt that there was this little boy, and it was a beautiful verdant green color. There were trees, there was the grass, there was this mountainside. Anyway, this little boy gets up in this little town, but the people there it's been there for thousands of years. The people don't die because there's this fountain up on the side of the mountain. It's the fountain of life, I guess you call it. It was like some liquid coming out of the earth. So they would all go up the mountain and they would drink the liquid every day and come back down. But nobody was friendly. They didn't appreciate each other. There was no love. It was just, perfunctory. Get up there and so one day this little boy brings his accordion up and he starts to play it. And the man goes, "Bah, boy, be gone with you. Take that accordion away. We're here just to drink our liquid and be gone." So he goes back down the mountain and he goes to sleep and comes up the next day. And all of a sudden the liquid had stopped. And everybody's crying and they're whining and they're worried they're going to die. We've never in 10,000 years. This fountain of life has never stopped. We're all going to die. So he comes up with the hand organ, the accordion, and starts to play some soft music, and eases their pain, a little bit, and they don't tell him to go away. Well, the next day he comes up, and all the land is cleared, and the fountain is shooting higher than it ever did before because they accepted the young boy. I wonder if he's a type of Jesus or Christ, Anyway, so they all go, "This is wonderful!" And he starts playing the accordion, and they all dance together, and become friendly, neighborly, and we love each other the way it should be. We love each other for eternity. Hooray, hurrah! And that's the story of the fountain and the accordion player.
Now, this was a dream of yours.
This was a dream at the age of 14.
Wow.
And what do you think it meant?
Well, I've
Has
thought
it
about
been analyzed, Mr. Palmer?
not by analysts, but by Rhett. So but that's not worth much. Having been a high school dropout and then getting my GED and taking some courses after that. But I think the dream is sort of like a foreshadowing of Jesus. The little boy represents the music. Music is the most harmonious, angelic thing on earth. Other than women, I think the closest thing to heaven on earth is music.
I agree.
It's just a marvel. Think about it. And
It brings out all the emotions.
yeah, and so here are these people that were all taking maybe why we die. Because here were these people that lived forever, and suddenly the fountain of eternal life was taken away from them because they were not appreciating each other, loving each other, being kind to each other. And then when then they all whimpered and cried when the fountain was turned off, and they hugged each other and consoled each other. And then the little boy comes up and plays his accordion. They don't make him go away. They accept his love, and then the next day it's shooting higher than ever before and changed the whole. And 10,000 years it hadn't been changed, and now it was changed because they had the fountain of life had been turned off, and now it's turned back on. So maybe that's. I'd like to think that that's what God's going to do maybe with all of us, because I have a problem with death. Do you know Linda Teets?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, Linda.
Wonderful
Well,
lady.
Linda listens to my show frequently.
Hello, Linda.
And she'll call the different. I know recently she called the CEO that was on here, CEO for a non-for-profit, having heard him on the show, and they were tickled, of course. Now Linda contributes a lot to our local society, but and God knows what He's doing when He hands out. Let's put it this: prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Linda and her husband Mel are extremely, extremely prosperous, but they're extremely big givers.
Absolutely.
So now here's another story. It has nothing to do with money. This shows you why God would smile on this lady. So when my mom dies, so I used to be down at the other studio down in Port St. Lucie, the border there, and my mom had died. It was devastating to me because my father had been killed when I was a little boy, 5 years of age. So my mom and I, my brother, we were extremely tight. So I'm devastated with the death of my mom. One person shows up in the parking lot. I get off of the show that day, and there's Linda Teets waiting for me.
Wow.
And try to say this without breaking up or crying or something. And she has a little gift for me. And it was something from Neiman Marcus. I mean, I think that's a pretty high-end store or something.
Sure.
And I'm sure it was probably cost some dough, but that wasn't the gift she brought me. Later on, I would open it and thank you very much. It was a beautiful candle and everything. The gift she gave me was that she was there.
Absolutely.
And I said, death is so horrible, and seeing your mom die right there, on the gurney in the hospital and everything. But anyway, so I was talking about death and how I'm fearful of death. And she says, well, Rhett, up until 17, I had a horrendous fear of death. And I only say this to you if you're listening out there, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you need to be emancipated from fear of death. Because I still fear death to this day. Well, why wouldn't you? You'd be stupid not to, right? Hey, I can't wait to just not exist anymore. I mean, it's horror, you know. I mean, it's the most final thing on this earth we can experience. It's horrible. But anyway, I mean, even Jesus didn't want to die. And he's connected to the Father, knows he's about to do something that's going to emancipate
Everybody wants to go to heaven, but not
Nobody
now.
wants to die to Nobody wants to die to get there. So she's waiting in the parking lot, and she says, well, Rhett, I used to have a fear of death until I was 17, but then she went to an ecumenical camp. And, of course, ecumenical means there might be Catholics there, Protestants, there might be Baptists, there might be whoever, whatever. Anyway, so she's at this ecumenical camp for kids, and she says this fear of death bothered her constantly. She says suddenly they're in the playground, and she goes deaf. She hears nothing. And a voice says, you are not afraid to die, Linda. And then her hearing comes back. And she said from that time forward, she never, ever had a fear of death. Now, if you want to check out on the truth meter how this lines up, first of all, it says that God spoke the world into existence. And he didn't say, Linda, he didn't encourage her and go, oh, don't be afraid to die. He says, Linda, you are not afraid to die. Strange thing for a voice to say, because he was speaking that into her. You know, God spoke the world into it. That's why we can curse or bless. You know that. You have children. Oscar has children. You have children, Ken.
Yes, I do.
You know, you can either curse them or bless them. You tell them every day, you're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to amount to anything, you know. I mean, I hate to tell you, that's what, you know, inferior people do. Don't tell your kids they're not going to amount to anything, because they will. They're like little beans. You're going to go to the moon. I'm going to go to the moon. Daddy says so. I'm going, you know. So anyway, so Linda was forever freed from that spirit or fear of death. Is that an amazing story?
That's very awesome.
But that's the kind of person Linda is. Now, why did we start talking about Linda Teets? I have no idea. It was going to go
Because she's a wonderful lady, and we acknowledge her and her husband.
I know, but I know something about. Well, I don't know. Well, anyway, so the Riverside Theater. This is what's really cool. The Riverside Theater is having a big grand opening this very night.
Tonight.
Tell us all about it.
Well, 5 years ago, it's really the brainchild of John Moses, who is our managing director. We realized that at Riverside, we don't have a product that someone can take home. We don't have a T-shirt necessarily. We don't have a chair or something that when you take it home, every time you see it, you think, oh, Riverside. The only thing that we can give people is an experience. Hopefully, when they get there, they really have a wonderful time at the shows, and that experience stays with you, that memory. So his thought was, well, the experience of coming to Riverside really starts from the parking lot, right at the parking lot. As soon as you get out of your car, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had some music, if we had some food that people could smell and
I
whatnot?
like food.
David, hold on. Don't say
I didn't
anything.
say a thing.
No, but David does. On behalf of our show, though, David does say, if I owned a restaurant, you'd be foolish not to advertise our Rhett Palmer show. Right? Do you not say that?
Absolutely, yes.
So you need to tell your the guys up above, said, we need to get a, what do you call it, a budget for Rhett.
There
So
you
we
go.
can talk about it. It's
There
on
you
the
go.
air.
So his thought, well, let's have some music.
Thank you.
We'll have some tables out front. So 5 years ago, we started with a solo musician at the door, and sort of continued to grow and grow and
Yeah.
grow to the point where we have our outdoor stage, and we were having a mobile bar and grill out there so people could come. So last year we had about 25,000 people just come to outdoor.
Come on.
How
Live
many
in the loop.
5,000 and you
25,000
seat? How many
people.
do you seat over there?
Well, we have a seating about 200 seats, but people bring in their own chairs. They bring in blankets to sit in the
Really?
grassy
And there's no
area.
charge for this.
There's no charge for that. We always have every Friday and Saturday night. We have different local
But you do
musicians
sell
play.
drinks.
We sell
you sell
drinks
food.
and food.
What kind of food? I want to know.
Anything from burgers
Really?
to chips.
You make
to,
burgers at the Riverside
Yeah.
Theater? I
Yeah.
love a good burger.
What do you
Sure.
bring in chefs or?
We have Jimbo Carroll, who runs Cafe 66 off on.
That's a new restaurant, right?
New restaurant.
They told me they want me to stop out there.
It's
where's
a
it
great
located?
place. It's on Oslo, on the corner of Oslo and 66th Avenue. It's in. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to forget.
An old barn.
Yes, it's. I want to say it's Audrey's Feed and Hay, or it's
No.
something.
Yeah.
She listens to my show too.
I apologize if I
She's
get that
called me a number of times.
incorrect.
Yeah,
but it is.
she's a sexton.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
So
That's a feed place out
he
there.
has his
Hello,
cafe
other of you
there.
listening. I stopped out recently, but you had already left.
Oh no! Well, now
She
you.
called me, wanted me to come out, and that was 2 months ago, and I haven't been able to get out since. I apologize.
Well, you can come and.
Oh, she'll be there
Jimbo-
tonight?
Well, Jimbo runs the cafe there, so he's been running the bar and grill here.
Big Jimbo there.
And so it has gone to the point where we needed a structure, an actual structure, a catering kitchen
Yeah.
to actually do this right.
So they built the kitchen.
We built a kitchen. We open it tonight at 6 o'clock. We have our ribbon cutting, and people are invited to come.
Oh,
and
boy.
We'll have a fun time.
Okay.
We have East Harbor as the band playing tonight, and so.
And then you can go inside
and listen
see.
to Ken.
Ken! What time is your show tonight?
We have 2 shows, 7:30 and 9:30.
And that's inside. Now, how are you going to get traffic to go inside? Because it's kind of like a little competing tonight, isn't it?
Well,
why would you have 2 shows
it's-
the same night?
It's not competing. I mean, we've been doing this all the time. For people who don't have tickets to a show, they can't get in because it's sold out.
It's like
They can
dinner theater for crying out loud.
There you go. You can still enjoy the music
It's
outside.
like a light dinner theater.
Wow.
Plus,
Yeah.
the month of July is our Vegas Nights fundraiser for the Children's Theater. So the lobby of the theater will have Las Vegas style casino games where people can play craps, roulette, blackjack, slot machines, and the funds raised for that go towards scholarships for the Children's Theater.
All right, well, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to have Ken play something for us prior to that. What are you thinking?
I don't know. What do you still see your guitar there?
You go, but you'll.
Sure.
Well,
Which one?
Well, for me, I don't know if this is in tune. Is it?
Pretty close.
Okay, this is a new Christmas song. I'm thinking, hey,
Christmas
maybe I
in
could
July.
get Ken to play my Christmas song over
There you
there.
go.
Which we're trying to get airplay national. It goes. I feel so Christmas blues since I ain't got you. Lord knows I'm sad and so alone. I got these Christmas blues since I ain't got you. Baby, I'm lonely to the bone. Why don't you hop on, Rudolph, and hurry on back home? You know that I'm so lonesome, this house just ain't a home. I got these Christmas blues since I ain't got you. Lord knows this house just ain't a home. I got these Christmas blues since I ain't got you. Lord knows this house just ain't no home. I got these Christmas blues and I'm singing them for you. Oh baby, why don't you come back home? Why don't you hop on, Rudolph, and hurry on back home? You know this Santa is hungry and lonesome. I got these Christmas blues since I ain't got you. Lord knows this house just ain't a home.
Yeah.
Hey. That's funny. I like that song. That's a good. one.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Who's clapping out there?
Here we go.
Shaking off.
Yeah.
Thanks, David. Thanks
Hey,
for coming
Always
in.
good to see you, sir.
Nice to see you and nice to hear you.
Thanks.
Doing that.
Did you bring your violin?
You didn't tell me to bring a violin.
Oh yeah, I
You
did.
told me to bring
Right, that's it.
How you doing, Marshall Frank?
Bye bye. Bye bye.
You gotta be exhausted.
How are you?
tiring.
I was exhausted last night.
I bet.
You know? I'll have you sit with David this season.
All right, I'll do that.
All right?
Let me get my. Well, you're going to be a few minutes here, right?
Yeah, we're all on break. You want to get up, walk around?
Yeah. Sounds
We're in
good.
the news.
Hit the restroom.
Are they still
Hit the
going to
restroom.
be on? And he's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be, he's
Oh,
going to
I'll,
be in place of
Everybody
I'll sit-
stand.
I'll sit.
Marshall's
right
going to be
here.
in place of
David.
David? Okay.
David leave yet or no?
He just went out the door.
Oh,
Sounding good in there?
Kathy, by the way. Yes, yes.
Perfect. Yeah, I thought it might be just easier just to let the speaker do the work. Yeah. Not worry about it. Yeah, it's picking up. This has got compression. Yeah, sounds good.
And by the way, this will be rebroadcast tomorrow. The 8 to 10 segment is rebroadcast 6 to 8 p.m. AM, and then Monday morning. The 6 to,
As a
so
female,
you're
when
on
I
8
need
to
my
9.
auto repair, I
so
want
it's
someone I
6
can
to
trust to
7.
repair my vehicle.
Gotcha.
I trust Don's Import Auto Services and Sales. Free pickup and delivery, or they have loaner vehicles while yours is being serviced. I especially like their comfortable waiting area and free coffee. Don's Import Auto Service and Sales is an official Michelin dealer. Don's also offers
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
24-month guarantee on their service and repairs. Don's Import Auto Service is on 43rd in Vero. Call 569-4714. Again, 569-4714.
Vero Beach Regional Airport presents The Escape to the Mountains. That's right. Non-stop commercial jet service has begun from Vero Beach, Florida, direct into Asheville, North Carolina on Elite Airways. Of course, they have service
the newest
to Fort
issue.
Liberty,
I got one. I got one in the mail.
Oh, you did today?
Yeah.
There you go.
More information, log on to www.verobeachairport.org. It's time to escape to the mountains. Non-stop commercial jet service to Asheville, North Carolina on Elite Airways. Free parking at the Vero Beach Regional Airport. Land near the sand. Today's show sponsored by Dr. Alex Plains, Custom Family Dentistry and Dental Implants. Nobody looks forward to going to the dentist. But Dr. Plains offers conscious sedation for dental phobia. Dr. Plains and his staff likes to help people with friendly atmosphere and a stress-free visit.
Professional musician?
Yeah,
Office
yeah.
is located
I work for
just
Hal,
south of the Village
doing
Beach Market,
pianos and stuff.
4755
Yeah,
North
beats having a real
1A.
job.
Or his website, plainsdentalarts.com,
I have a
or call
partner who plays piano, and he's a retired
That's
medical examiner. And he,
231-6004.
Yeah,
if
To help with your next dental need,
yeah.
from the
And
basic
the
cleaning
guy's
to
found it,
dental implants, call
and
Dr.
when we first met
Plains'
11 years
staff,
ago,
offering
his
conscious
wife wanted me to
sedation
meet
to
him,
improve
vice versa,
dental
so
phobia.
I play violin, and I'm become non-conventional, I do, I can play, I've been in symphonies, I can read music, but I prefer to play by ear.
Yeah.
So, and well, Jay Barnhart, he can play anything from any time, any period in history. So we go to when we do shows, we'll say to the audience, if you can name a song he doesn't know, I'll give you a prize. And so out come the names of these remote songs in the 30s and 40s, like a computer. Oh yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah, that's what I do too. Is a lot of,
really?
we with the dueling pianos, we take requests from the audience.
Yes, right.
So we'll get Phantom of the Opera, and
Right.
then something like you say from the 30s. Play Gershwin, or
Yeah.
and then we'll have like Bruno Mars, what's on the radio right now.
Yeah,
so
right.
we go
Popular, yeah.
we go all over the place.
Yeah. That's about what we do too.
Yeah, but I've always found the medical guys, man, they got the brains for the music thing. Like I know a
He's a
lot of
scientist
doctors
type
that are
of guy,
usually
he
musicians.
analyzes everything,
Yeah.
We were going to a place in a country club to do a gig, and it's word anyway. So we're arriving, we're walking across the grass to the front door, and all of a sudden he gets distracted, and he walks way over, and he starts getting in the grass like a dog. He does a handsome. He found some kind of rare mushroom. And he picked it and he put it in something, and he took it home and he cut it and then he analyzed it, looked at it under a microscope, and then he had some real long name for it. He says, "This is rare, you never see these anymore." I said, "Oh my God, don't eat it, whatever you do."
Yeah.
know, he's quite a guy. Really, he's 82 now, but he's still with it. You know.
Oh yeah,
We have a good time.
mental acute. My grandfather played violin. Well, he called it fiddle, and that's that's kind of what he
Same
did.
instrument.
Yeah, I know. But it's like you say, the way he played it, he preferred to improvise and just play melodies and by ear.
Yeah.
You know, and you play any tune, you figure out the key and jump right in. And, you know,
That's what Jay does. I can figure out most. It's the popular music. I'm pretty good at playing by ear as long as the key is pretty simple. I mean, I don't like to play something that's 5 flats. You know.
yeah.
But for the most part,
Oh, that's easy on piano. It's just all the black keys.
all the black which he likes to play.
Yeah.
He likes to play black. You know, that reminds me of Irving Berlin. You know the story of Irving Berlin.
Remind me.
Irving Berlin was the little Jewish immigrant
Yeah.
that wrote God Bless America.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of good
Easter
tunes.
Parade.
Yeah, yeah.
He wrote thousands of tunes. What people don't know is that Irving Berlin couldn't read music. And not only that, he couldn't play on any piano except the black keys. Because the black keys are all elevated, so you know he couldn't hit any wrong notes.
Yeah.
So he wrote all these thousands of songs that other people had to come in and write, actually write the score
actual
to.
sheet music.
And they finally got him a piano that they some device where they could shift the arc so that they could play whatever key somebody else wants.
Right.
For him, it was the same key all the time. You know, the same black keys.
I know a piano player that does that. He
Really?
plays everything in C.
Yeah. Right.
And then hits the transpose button
There you go.
and moves like, this song's too high. Let me move to A flat. He's still playing in C. Plays everything in C.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, like I was playing along with him, because we do dual pianos.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he's moving around and all these, he's like in F sharp, and I'm going, wow, this is really hard, difficult in this key. I'm like, man, you must practice all over the place, man. You were just flying over F sharp. He's like, oh yeah, no, I play everything in C. I just hit the transpose button. I'm like, oh, so you're a cheater.
Well, that's electric pianos, right? You're talking about.
Yeah. Digital. No one.
Yeah.
I mean, even at the Riverside, I don't play real pianos. I bring shells that
right?
look like a baby grand piano,
Right.
and then stick a digital keyboard in it and plug it in. That way, it's always okay. It's in tune.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
It's always in
I
tune.
don't have to worry about breaking a string.
Yeah.
I remember playing on real pianos back in the day. We had Baldwin Grands.
I know Baldwin at all.
2 of them. Yeah, they're beautiful. But we'd be pounding them hours a night. It's not delicate piano playing. It's like Jerry Lee Lewis. Like we're jumping on the stools and doing this all night. And man, we boing, you hear pop the string, and the piano players were like a pit crew. Oh, someone popped the string. The guys that were on break would come up, throw the lid up, pull the old string out, run in the back, get a new one. We had a ratchet.
When you put
crank it up.
when you put a new string on a piano, it doesn't have to be retuned every.
We would spot tune it.
Yeah,
We just
you have
tune the note within
a
itself.
fresh string doesn't stay in tune right away.
No, and by the end of the night it would be out of tune again.
Yeah, right, right.
These were the days when we'd have to show up a half hour early to work because we'd have to spot tune
Yeah,
the
right.
pianos, at least make the note in tune with itself. Now, okay, it's in tune. I like that better. And I can switch sounds.
2 minutes to open in the studio.
2 minutes.
Open
one of the pastors at First Presbyterian Church of Vero Beach. We would welcome you if you're looking for a church home. We
Get
have
yourself
great music,
settled
we
in.
have a great congregation, lots of
All right.
wonderful men and women. We are located
Yeah.
at the Point, which is at the corner
I have some in the
of Royal
front.
Palms
We'll get 2 or
Indian
3
River
of them.
Boulevard.
All right, you guys ready for the next segment? The exciting world of radio.
He plays the violin.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Let's see, what are we going to come in on this time?
Yeah, you do something. I'm just playing with it.
Okay. Maybe, I've been thinking about doing, remember this song?
This is the last spot.
They
Open
play
it
this
next.
at
Stand
every
by.
wedding. What's it called?
The Alley Cat?
Yeah. How old are you now? 36?
I'm a little faster.
How old are you? 36, 40?
44. That's too fast.
And those are the live sounds of Ken Gustafson. Actually, my friend has just walked into the studio here, and he is Marshall Frank, the author. The title of his newest book is America Stand, Conquest from Within, Jihad Against USA is Our Religious Duty. That's it. I want to tell you, Jihad against USA is our religious duty. So when
Sounds
will
like a good German accent.
I don't know how to do Pakistani. You know?
Neither can I.
Neither can I.
Yeah.
All right, so Marshall Frank, it's good to see you. By the way, this is next to you is Ken Gustafson, who's
I can't believe we're
playing
talking.
the keyboard today for us. And
Look at those fingers fly.
he is the father of two, and he a full-time musician. And that's why I wish you brought your violin today. You could have played with us.
Full-time
You know?
musician. To make a living as a full-time musician, you got to be good.
Yeah, you got to be good. You got to be good. And we also, of course, have Oscar in here from Riverside Theater. Good morning, Oscar.
Good morning.
And we have Alyssa. Hello. And we have the son, who is Sebastian. And we were just back in the green room, and we were running around the table eating. What are those things called? Like little pretzel things with the peanut butter in the center?
Food.
We were having food together. And so, anyway, it's good to have you. Now, tonight, of course, Ken will be performing tonight.
Yep.
And what time does that start?
2 shows, 7:30 and 9:30 at the Riverside Theater tonight and tomorrow night. We'll have the Howl at the Moon Experience, dueling pianos, all request show.
Now, was there a charge to get in that, or do you just buy
Yeah,
drinks?
I think you buy tickets. Like there's music outside.
Right. They're the Howl and the Moon show tickets are start at $16, $16 to $22. And then there is Vegas Nights casino games as a fundraiser for the Children's Theater in the lobby, and then there's the outdoor stage with local musicians this weekend as well.
Okay, well that sounds exciting. And then you're going to have, of course, the unveiling of the new Rhett Palmer statue over there, right?
Yes,
The
absolutely.
Rhett Palmer statue.
Actually, I think it's still being cast.
Yeah.
They're having a
Who's
problem.
playing me? Who's playing me?
No,
Oh, not that kind of cast.
not that
I
kind of
know.
cast.
I
Not that
was
kind.
trying to be funny. Ba-da-pop. So anyway, Ken, so what happens? I got to get over to see the show because I keep hearing good things about it. So what happens? We get in there at 7:30.
Yeah, and we come out and we tell the people, hey, on your table you've got request slips and pencils.
Uh-huh.
Let us know if people are having birthdays, anniversaries. Let us know what songs you want us to play, and everything comes with people bringing up their requests. And my favorite was I don't know, it was maybe 2 or 3 times ago. I got a request and the guy said, "It's my 90th birthday.
Oh.
Wow.
I want to dance a tango on my 90th birthday."
Oh.
So I busted out my accordion and did
No.
Hernando's Hideaway. And I did that, and he got up and danced with some younger lady.
And they
the
did the
crowd-
tango?
Oh, he did on his 90th
And
birthday.
the crowd went.
That's great.
They went bonkers. It was fantastic, and those are the moments that you can't script that. That's why the show it's interactive, and it's the people, and it's like it's never the same.
Actually, Jojo, you ought to get him to hire him as a shill. Come in wherever you're doing the show.
Well, it's important for people to realize that they can get up and dance. It's
Yeah.
not just sitting there requesting
It's not a
song.
concert. Yeah.
Get up and dance and move yourself
Sing
and have a
and-
good old time. Grab someone you don't even know and get up and dance.
Well, we've had people like I was doing, I don't know, I think I was doing Summer Nights from Greece or something, and I said, "Oh, come on, ladies, help me sing." And this one lady got up and said, I can sing the girl part. I handed her a mic, and she sang the whole thing with me. We did a duet, just spontaneous, right out of the audience. So
That's great.
A lot of times, it's one of those things where people think it's a concert, but it's not. It's interactive. We're going to ask you to clap your hands. We're going to ask you to sing along. Everybody sings. We might bring someone up on stage and sing a funny song for their birthday, or if there's a couple that's celebrating. I mean, you wouldn't believe the years on the anniversaries we get here. 45, 50, 55 years people been married, and they're there on their anniversary.
Eldon Orker was a famous ball player. He used to play with Detroit, and he was a friend of mine. Lost him at the age of 96, but he had the World Series ring on his finger. But anyway, we became friends late in life, and he would sometimes Tommy Lasorda, and I would go out and have lunches and stuff, and then he and his wife and the four of us would go out and have dinner. And that's when they served the really good fried chicken over at the Vero Beach, the club over there? And they were members, so they took us.
Country club?
So one night I said to his wife, they've been married 72 years.
Holy cow.
To the same person?
Yeah. So 72 years. So I said, now, have you and Eldon Orker there, have you guys ever considered, did you ever consider divorce? And she goes, Mildred, no, murder, but not divorce. And the reason we laugh is because of that generation, that's the way it was. If there were some improprieties, it's like, well, we made this decision, we're sticking it out. And so flippant today, I mean, I don't want to get into a whole political thing, but people want to pick on people that have alternative lifestyles. Maybe I approve of those and maybe I don't. But let me tell you something. Why don't you take care of the speck in your own eye before you go pointing the finger at somebody else? You know what I'm saying? It's just, you got people who have been married 5 times. Let me tell you something. Oh, no, you've been married 5 times?
5 times.
5 times.
That's right.
Now, let me ask you this, so honestly. You're my friend, right? I don't want to say anything. I would never say anything to offend you. I'm just asking.
Not offensive.
But it does kind of make a mockery out of the marriage, if you believe in God. Now, I don't know what your beliefs are. I know that you're
part. That has anything to do with it.
Your lineage is Jewish, but I don't know if you believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Do you, or yes or no?
I'm not a follower.
No. So you don't believe in Jesus? You don't believe in...
Well, I believe he was a great guy.
You believe,
I believe he was a great teacher.
You think Moses was...
Moses was...
But do you believe there is a God?
Was Jewish.
That's right. Oy vey, I've got some news for you. Shabbat, I want to tell you something. So was Jesus.
He said, oy vey, look what I did.
No, look, so was Jesus.
I know.
Yeah, do that.
My pianist and I, we play that all the time.
There you go.
We sing with a whole Jewish series.
Do you?
Songs,
with your violin?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, with my,
but when you get married, now you said been married 5 times. Now, for someone like me who says at the age of 29 I had a conversion experience and I believe in Jesus, to me, to make that commitment, then that would be a vow. So many people today make those vows so lightly.
Well,
I mean, you did it 5 times.
Circumstances change with every person and every life. Okay,
How many lives have you had?
Well, 5. In my first marriage, I was we had a child. Let's say 5 months after we got married, and we were very young. And one day, she was very beautiful. And one day, unsuspecting, I was a rookie policeman. I came home after midnight shift at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I walked into an empty house. Everything was gone out of the house except my clothes.
Why do you think?
I don't know. We never even had a fight. But she went home to her family, and she wanted something better, whatever the reasons were. It was always a mystery from that point on. Anyway, within a year, she got remarried to somebody who had money.
Uh-huh.
So there's circumstance number
Well,
one.
money on a man is like beauty is on a woman, right?
Well, it depends on the woman. But every circumstance.
I tried though. I taped dollar bills all over my body. It still didn't work when I went to the
Well,
local
you got
tavern.
a beauty there. You got a beauty at home.
Oh, Barbara?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, she's lovely. So
But
anyway,
you're just saying that because your articles are in Vero's Voice
no,
magazine.
you know I'm right.
You're right.
But,
So go ahead.
So anyway,
Did she ever tell you why she did that?
No.
That's going to be the. No, hold on. I have a situation similar to that in my life, and it still eats at my stomach. 30 years later, doesn't that bug you? Wanting to know what the heck? You never had an argument.
I think her actions spoke for themselves. I mean, she wasn't a bad person.
Were you devastated?
Yeah, I was wrecked. Yeah, at that time I was only 22 years old.
Did you pick up some extra alcohol for a period? Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of went crazy. I was not a bad-looking guy when I was 22 years old. And I had a police uniform, which was like drawing moths to the flame.
Oh, it's like what?
Drawing
yeah.
moths to the
How
flame.
come women are real? And geez, I gotta get a mayor's outfit, man.
With a sash and a big top hat.
Yeah, a Marine Corps outfit or a police officer outfit, and can't miss.
What happened? I was just up in Vermont, and I was at the what's the capital of Vermont? Well, whatever it is.
Montpelier.
Yes, I was there, and they had the big celebration the day before 4th of July. And what a wonderful all-American little town with kids and moms and dads and grandmas and grandpops. It was just great. And they had, it must be a naval base near there because all those guys are strutting around the street. Everybody's there and they're having hot dogs and all kinds of good stuff for sale and ice cream, candy and popcorn, even cotton candy. And you got these.
You know what that is?
Yeah. Oh, she likes that.
Oh, yeah.
Alyssa. You like that too, Sebastian? Ooh. So maybe I get a cotton candy machine here. Keep the kids happy.
There you go.
Anyway, Uncle Rhett is here with his cotton candy. But anyway, so what was I saying? I was going to tell a story. Oh, all the guys are coming in their sailor suits. And my dad was a sailor. I told you I lost my dad when I was young. But they just, man, I tell you what, I think that's probably my favorite military outfit. Now, the Marine may have more of a hoorah, hoorah, but
what was that again?
Hoorah!
Oh, okay.
How do you spell
How
that?
do you spell that?
And, but the sailors, that pure white and the white hat, man, they just look like, whoa, what is this? There's like, so women are very seduced by that. So you were a cop. And
Yes.
you were single.
Well,
Now,
in between marriages.
Okay. Why don't you try for what's it? Stand up. I think you need to come to the Riverside Theater and do a
I'd
stand
love
up.
to.
Yeah.
You know what I want to know?
What do you
This is
wanna
I want to know. I used to be the MC over there at the theater for like 10 years for the Red, White, and Blue concerts.
Right.
And I'd get out there and I'd tell a joke, and I can talk to a crowd of 1,000 easier than I can talk to one. I can talk to us in here, and this is about it for me. You get 20 people in this room, I'll start getting a dry mouth, And when I talk on the radio, I'm just talking to one person at a time.
Right.
But I wondered how these comedians go from having, oh, that's Billy Bob, my brother, he's funny, to going in front of an audience. And they step out in front of 10,000 people at a stadium. And how do you cultivate that? How do you start? I'd love to be a stand-up
It's
comedian.
like,
man.
I would think it's like a muscle, just like creating songs, writing songs,
Yeah,
performing
but how do you
songs.
get to do it? You don't just stand up one day and
You work-
10,000 people show up.
How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Practice,
One
practice,
step at a
practice.
time.
Practice.
Well, yeah,
Just
practice.
keep practicing your
Yeah, but where do you get the
craft
practice? Little clubs and stuff,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Open mic nights. I've seen people, dueling piano players, which is, what I do. And I've seen them go into, stand-up comedy because, a lot of what we do is emceeing.
Yeah.
But, like if I tell a joke and it bombs, I can go, go
And
into
that's
a,
funny.
Yeah, go into a
yeah.
peppy song and kind of, okay, forget about the terrible joke
Well, I
I
can
just
go out
told.
there with my ukulele, and when something
you
goes
go.
wrong, anyway. No,
And you
no.
don't realize that your songs are funny. So, in essence, some of your songs are comedic bits.
Well, my father was in vaudeville.
Your father was in vaudeville.
Vaudeville. He was a star in vaudeville. Yeah, he
Really?
played the Palace. He played
What was his name?
Art Frank. He died in 1941, so he's not known by modern people. But he did an old man routine, and he was very funny and all that kind of stuff. And I never knew him, but my mother told me a lot about him and said that he always said that laughter is infectious.
Mm-hmm.
He became addicted to laughter.
Sure.
And it's like what happened to Jack Benny. Jack Benny was violinist, concert violinist.
Yeah.
String breaks. And he is kind of, no, what do I do? So he goes, well, everybody broke out laughing. This is a long story made short. And for that time on, he wanted to be a comedian, not a violinist anymore.
It must be. When I would get in front of that crowd over at the high school there, and I get, every year I'd come out and I'd go, "Hi, my name's Johnny Cash," and they'd all laugh, and then we start to tell them I was the guy to break it up and have some what do you call comic relief,
Mm-hmm.
But I was just thinking, and it was so much fun. I can understand the addiction. You want to go, I want to do this again, man. That's a high, connecting to an audience like that.
It is. It's a high.
It's wonderful.
That's right.
But I was thinking, I'm sorry. I always call you Marshall Frank or Frank Marshall because you have two first names.
I've been called other names that I reached.
So I was thinking about your dad. His name was Art Frank. What if I got that mixed up? I call him
Maybe
Fart Ank.
Frank Art.
Hey, Fart Ank. No, it's not Fart Ank. It's Ank Fart. Oh, Art Frank.
He's my friend, Dad. It's okay.
Hey, Sebastian likes that one. That's because I said the word fart on the radio, right?
Isn't that one of the 7 words you're not supposed to say?
No, you can say fart all day long.
Those weren't real, honest. We'd leave the room by now. if we
Mr.
was.
B's got his nose up. Yeah.
Mr. B's going like that. That one stinks. So anyway, oh my word, we're really going down. Well, this is what these other radio shows make all their money on. They're like juvenile humor focused on adult genitalia. It's not funny, and the kids won't know what I just said, so that's cool. But anyway, so it's one thing to have fun. It's another thing to go on and make your life. Anyway. Howard Stern, $500 million later. What can I say, right?
He's doing good.
He's one smart cookie.
Yeah.
Now that's another thing about comedians. I think comedy, and the Riverside Theater, it's art. Comedians are art. They're artists. They see stuff, but why? Remember George Carlin? Why do we park in the driveway and drive on the parkway? Mm-hmm. Or he brings up that whole routine about stuff.
Yep.
Now, we've all done that. Did you ever notice it before? Now you go into a hotel. I got to have my stuff, a certain amount of stuff. I take it out of my luggage and I put it up on the counter so some of my stuff is there and I feel comfortable.
Yes.
Got to have some of my stuff. Then when I get home to my bedroom, it's my stuff. Don't move my stuff, Mom. That's my stuff up on the dresser. My stuff. Okay? You understand that, right? Because you got stuff, don't you? You got stuff, Sebastian? Oh. You got stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tons of it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you got stuff. You're always moving stuff.
I know.
He's got this whole contraption here. Now, speaking of which, you're going to be performing tonight at the Riverside Theater.
Yes.
And
tomorrow.
Oh, and tomorrow.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday.
Oh,
Two
great.
shows each night. Yeah.
Oh, good. Then you'll get some free publicity because this reruns Saturday morning.
Perfect.
The entire show. See
Yeah.
that? Look at that.
There you go.
Got it made in the shade with lemonade. Okay. Now, take us out with some good music. We're going to play some ads. We're going to do some news, and then we're going to come back. And then, as promised, we're going to talk to Marshall Frank, America Stand, Conquest from Within. Took you how long to write this book, Marshall?
Well, on and off, a 2-year period.
And you wrote another book on this subject.
Oh, that was 10 years ago.
And that was?
Militant Islam in America.
Now, have you read the Quran?
Yeah.
So you know the Quran. And you're saying they want to take over America from the inside out. I don't think they should be able to bring Sharia law or whatever it is, or Sunni law in here and subjugate the laws of America. In America, women are free. They don't have to wear burqettes. You're not going to come in here. Is that what's called a burqette?
Burqa.
Burqas.
Well,
or a burqette either.
Burqas are different than hijabs.
Yeah.
Hijabs is just for the
So
head.
you know what? No one should be allowed to come in. So here we have freedom. Everywhere they go, they take over and they make a mess of. Then they want to go somewhere else where there's freedom and there's love and kindness. No, it ain't happening. Not on my watch. Take it away, Mr. Trump. Tonight, you can see him live and in person at the Riverside Theater on Saturday night. It's Ken Gustafson. Howl at the Moon. Another famous pianist will be in there with him, and they'll be playing your tunes you want to hear. What are the gospel bands? the grand opening, Riverside Theater tonight at 6 p.m. Everybody's invited. We're the new bar and grill over there.
Mozart would turn over in his grave.
Yeah.
So he would have a lot of fun with that, actually.
I could do them.
Oh yeah, I throw in Mozart all over the place. Wipeout.
Okay, let's do it.
Is that should have been a Beatle.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah. I should have been a Beatle.
I'll
That's
be a
right,
Beatle.
you know. So, are we having fun, kids?
Yes.
Yes! We're having fun!
That's the most they've said all the morning.
Yeah, one word.
Anybody want to play?
No, you do. You're just
Oh, I know.
too
A dark,
shy to
secluded
say.
place.
You want to come over here, don't you? Come on, you want to come over and play that?
That's called a tambourine, by the way. You know that?
Yes.
Okay. Can't tell you anything new, can I?
It's not the kind you eat, that's a tangerine.
A tangerine. Here's my tangerine. That's kind of like that. Hey, you're pretty good, you know. Well, so what would be good? Let's.
Yeah, D minor.
We love you, Uncle Frank. Even though most of your jokes tank.
I was say stank.
We wish you brought your violin today. We hope you'll bring it down before you pass away.
No guarantee of that.
That's it.
I'm like blast the way out of here.
Well, I met this little girl in New York town. She put me down. Her name was Alyssa, and she had beautiful big brown eyes. And she had a brother named Sebastian. He was a really nice guy. They came to Red Palmer Studio with their dad one day, and they said, "Hey Dad, how long do we have to
That was so cool.
Bravo.
That was wonderful. Did you enjoy that?
All right, so if anybody needs to use the bathroom, we can do that.
You got water in your fridge?
Water. I think. Did you open your water?
No, I did not.
Do you mind if we get
No,
this? Okay, because this we're out of water.
Oh, is that true? It's okay. I'm not.
No, I'm
desperate.
fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marshall.
Oh,
Oh, how'd you like Vermont?
I love
There we go. That's the beat we need for that song.
Well, then I gotta take this.
When I knew to this girl, listen. She had big, big brown eyes. She had a brother named Sebastian. He was a good, good guy. They used to come to Red Palmer's radio studio. They said, Dad, it drives us mad. When can we go? Yeah, well, their daddy's name Oscar, and he's a big shot at the Riverside Theater, you know. He's always here with Ken Gustafson, promoting the big music show. Fridays and Saturdays, you can have a real good time. Even if it's raining, the sun still shines at a Riverside Theater in Vero. There's always something going on there, you know. So I'm putting on my tux, and I'm gonna put on my big red bow tie. I'm gonna go out rich tonight, gonna get high. No alcohol, no drugs, I don't need nothing like that, no. 'Cause I'm going to Riverside, I'm gonna see a great, great show. Oh, 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 Riverside. Riverside for the show. Riverside, Riverside,
That's the vibe we needed.
Have you ever seen Charo play the guitar?
She's fantastic. She studied with Segovia.
No.
Yeah.
Segovia.
She's still around?
Is she still around?
Yeah, she's a fantastic guitar player.
No.
Oh yeah, classical
She-
all
she-
over it.
First class.
Charo.
She has records and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
When
she's known by the Gucci Gucci Gucci, but she's a
Well,
fantastic.
She's gotta be an old
she
lady.
sits down on
Yeah.
a stool, she put the guitar in her hands, and Gucci Gucci's gone.
Yeah.
And she becomes a serious musician.
They had her on
she's
a
amazing.
Disney show. I want to say
never
Hannah
knew
Montana or something like that.
Yeah.
That
Really?
They had
All this time you
Charo
thought
on a
she
kids
was-
show, and my
how
kids
do
were
you
watching.
like
I'm like,
this?
hey, it's Charo. And she sat down and
with the stars. She was in Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
She was voted out early, but
Yeah.
they brought her back and she did some flamenco.
Oh yeah,
Everybody danced to.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody danced to her music. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was Xavier Cugat who brought her into,
And
fame.
who was he? Why was he so
He
famous?
was a famous band
This
leader
is
in
the
the
last
50s.
spot. Your open is next, Rhett. Stand by.
It is already?
Alrighty. All right. then.
Can you play anything that's kind of like America Stanish?
America Stanish,
Yeah, we do
something
that.
Middle
I don't
Eastern.
think there is.
Yeah, yeah. You got anything Middle Eastern?
Let me see. Let me see what I got.
I
I
remember when I got to Israel. I went to Israel once. I was going, hearing that stuff. They had, oh, here it comes.
There you go. Give me some percussion.
Now you listen to the sounds of Ken Gustafson. You can see him tonight, 7:30 show tonight, and also on.
9:30.
Oh, there's a 9:30.
Yeah, 2
You're doing
shows.
4 shows.
Oh yeah.
Friday, 2 shows in this. Wow, cool. So those are
Can't get enough of him.
Can't get enough of Ken. Can't get enough. Oh no. Gonna go over to Riverside and see that cool show. And so it's 7:30 tonight and 9:30 tonight.
Yep.
And Saturday. And what's the show all about?
Well, it's a dueling piano show, so it's audience requests and really interactive. So it's a lot of
that is
sing
the
along.
best one.
Remember Sing Along with Mitch? Remember that old TV
Yeah.
show? That's basically what it is. Just
Yeah.
more modern stuff.
Cool.
And we take requests, so it's different every time because you always get different requests for different
Hey,
things.
I promote you on my show. I got to figure out some way that I could come over and every show you could hold up a fake picture of me and say, yeah, Rhett couldn't be here or something. We're on the show this morning.
We'll do our tribute
Maybe
to
I
Rhett
could come
Palmer.
over.
Sure,
Can I
you
come
can.
over?
Anytime, you're welcome.
By the way,
anytime.
that's the voice of Oscar from Riverside Theater. Give him a round of applause for Riverside.
There was a great pianist in the movies whose first name was Oscar, and he was, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Oscar Levant.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in town here, we
Around
used,
Liberace's era.
Even before. He was in the
Before that.
40s, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
now, when I think of Oscar, who do I think of when I always think of your
The Grouch.
Oscar the Grouch.
The Grouch.
The Odd Couple.
No, that's not who I think about.
Not the Odd
Some
Couple.
musician. Who's the famous
Oscar Peterson, the
Oscar
jazz
Hammerstein.
pianist.
That's who I think about. Oscar Hammerstein.
Ah,
See
Yeah.
all these great Oscars.
Oscar with the hammer. Yeah, that's a guy. That guy was a builder, wasn't he? Famous Oscar Hammer.
Rogers and Hammerstein.
Stein was his last name, right? Jewish fella.
Jewish, he was.
How come it is always the Jewish fellas that are writing all these good hit songs?
I don't know. They just got all that talent. What can I tell you?
Wes?
Now, before we get into Frank here, Marshall Frank, and by the way, you're sticking around. We're going to do some
be
recordings
perfectly
later
frank.
today, right? So Marshall Frank is here. He's been writing for, gosh,
Since I'm about 4 years old.
no.
Yeah.
You started that young writing?
Yeah.
Even when you were a cop for 30 years on the homicide squad in Miami?
I was writing a lot of police reports.
Of course.
Oh, it's simply amazing. Now, well, you know Dr. Plains.
Dr.
In
Plains.
town. Dr. Plains down here is a dentist, and he's a sponsor of our broadcast. And when he was 5 years old, he used to tie a string around his friend's teeth to pull them out.
No way.
Later became a dentist. Do you know that Wintley Phipps? He used to, according to Dr. He's long dead. Who's the guy that worked with Freud? Dr. Juan, or what was his name? Or I forget the guy.
Sigmund.
Nah, not Sigmund Freud. The other guy.
Jung?
Yes.
Carl Jung?
Yes.
Yes.
And Carl Jung said, if you look at your childhood, you'll see your adulthood. Now, when I was a little kid, 8 years of age, younger than Sebastian is now, I used to pretend I was on the radio up in my attic.
Wow, there you
know.
go.
Now, when Wintley Phipps was young, he travels around the world. He lives in this town, but he travels around. He's friends with Oprah and travels around the world every week. Every week he's traveling. Not the kind of life I'd want. But anyway, he said when he was a little boy, about your age, and he would take his red, red wheeler wagon, turn it up on its side, take the wheel and steer it and pretend he was flying a jet from country to country to country.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes on and on. Did you start writing when you were a little boy?
Actually, you mean writing
Yeah.
for fun?
Yeah.
No. I didn't start writing for fun until I was in my
No,
50s.
did you write anything, though? When you
Oh,
were
well,
young?
yeah. You
I
wrote
mean,
in school.
did you play you were a cop?
No.
Now, how about you, Ken?
Yeah, ever since I was a little kid, I always dreamed of being on stage and
Really?
sitting there with my accordion when I was 5 years old and playing, the Bio Barrel polka and thinking, someday I'm going to be on that stage.
You know, we need to do a recording together. We need to take that dream of mine and have you do an accordion shtick behind it. You have to be gentle, we'll figure it all out, work it out almost like a performance, and then make a recording of it.
Yeah, just a bed for you to tell the story, because I
And then
love
we
that story. It's great.
Did you?
It's great.
We've got to get an illustrator, and then we'll have a kid's book.
There you go.
With an audio. We'll have the audio version.
Yeah.
We'll have the visual version. And then you and I can retire to Hawaii.
There we go. Perfect.
I don't want to go.
Why would you go to Hawaii? You live in paradise now.
I know. You know, that's what happened. All those I just said it out of habit. All these years I was on the radio. I'd like to be in Hawaii. Finally, I go to Hawaii. You know what I did? I left a week early. I said, what do I want to be here for? This is Florida.
Yeah.
And frankly, I prefer Florida because when I went to the island, now what's the name of the store? Maui. Maui was nice. Have you
beautiful.
been?
Maui's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, Maui's beautiful. But when you go to the island of Hawaii, it's like you're walking on the moon. It's all this old hard lava. There's nothing there. It's dark and dismal. It's like I ran back to the cruise ship. I said, I got to leave. I took my luggage, went to the airport, and flew back to Santa Monica to visit my niece and nephew. That's a true story. But anyway, so we're all over the place today. But tonight at 6 o'clock at Riverside Theater is a big event.
We have the grand opening of our new bar and grill. We'll have a ribbon cutting at 6, and then we'll have outdoor performances. What's a ribbon cutting? That's when something is new. We have a big ribbon across the front, and then we have big scissors that come and cut it, so that
makes it official.
Open.
It makes it official.
Open.
You know, makes it. It's a big time. It's a big excuse. So they have the mayor come or somebody. When we had our new studio here 2.5 years ago,
maybe the mayor of the airwaves will be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right, there you go.
Now, we had a big ribbon here, and the governor came. And the governor, as a matter of fact, the governor spoke, I spoke, the sheriff spoke, Penny from the chamber spoke, and then I said, "Thank you for coming, folks." We had a live band out there, and there were about less than 1,000 people, but we had a lot of people out there. And I said, and I said, "Good night, thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen." And all of a sudden, the governor turned to me and says, "Rhett." I said, "Yes." He says, "We forgot something." "What's that, Governor?" Governor Scott. He says, "We didn't cut the ribbon." Oh, yeah. That's a true story. So, do you call 5-8-second, folks? Don't get in your cars yet.
Come on back.
We cut the ribbon. So tonight they're going to be cutting the ribbon. What time will you cut the ribbon?
6 o'clock.
Oh, it is at 6. You're going to cut it. So don't.
About 6.
Because we're
going for 6.
I thought I was going to arrive at 6, which means normally I'll arrive at about 10 after 6. But what you're really telling me is to arrive at 5:30. So I arrive about 5:15, and I'll be there for it.
You got it.
Okay, so we should.
For those who are timely or less timely or more or time challenged, we'll say earlier than that.
Yeah, I think we should say 5:45.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, because it's a funny thing in the mind. If you say 5:45, that's when I leave my house. 5:45.
Okay.
Is anybody else like that?
I'm Hispanic, so we're always late.
Yeah, I was going to say, in Miami.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Sales. Cuban.
Oh, okay.
Cuban.
Or sales.
Correct pronunciation, right?
Yeah.
Cubano. But you never lived in Cuba.
No.
But your parents did?
Yeah.
Or do you have?
When did they
alive
come
anymore?
over?
Or no.
No, they both passed. My parents came over in 53, 54.
Oh, before the Castro.
Yeah, before Castro.
Yeah.
So
when I was a rookie cop, I was working at the airport in Miami, working a beat, and the floods of Cubans started coming over when Castro took over. And it was very emotional, extremely emotional. And it was the beginning of the biggest changed city in the history of the United States, for Miami.
Absolutely.
But I'll say one thing that for the Cubans, I can say a lot of things for the Cubans. But what really stood out is that these people were so proud that they did not want welfare. They did not want any government assistance. They would live 3 families to an apartment and go out and sell. The bankers would go out and sell bananas in the street just to support themselves.
We had a man in town who right here, Roman Ortega Cohen, and he came here with a nickel in his pocket, and he won't. I guess I can talk about it now. I don't know, but he did a recording with me a few years ago, and we played it on the air, and he got feedback from Miami. Said you got to pull that right off, because there are still people alive in Cuba that would be oppressed because of what he said, but he had to leave there. There was gunfire involved. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
He was in jail. He came here with nothing, and I need to have him back again. Tanya's his daughter, and Roman. And he always sings "God Bless America." But anyway, he came here with like a nickel in his pocket and ended up becoming a very prosperous banker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's retired and I'm not.
And now artistic director of the Vero Beach Opera. Great organization.
That's right, he is. That's right. Where do they hold? Do they hold that at Riverside Theater or somewhere else?
They perform at the high school, the Vero Beach High School.
And that's a great theater.
Yeah.
Aren't we lucky to have that here too?
Sure.
We have a lot of arts in this town.
It's a great community. When we first moved down here in 2005, we were shocked, my wife and I, at the number of cultural organizations and institutions in this small town. It's just incredible.
It is. It is. It's amazing. It's a good town.
Testament to this community, obviously, that supports it all.
Yeah. Well, and we have to say the money has influenced that because we've been able to bring in certain people. I mean, look at all the generals I've interviewed and president. Well, then they've come to town. Sometimes I've chased them down other places, but yeah. How many small town talk hosts have all these people on? Colin Powell, President Jeb Bush was just on recently, right? President Carter, Ford, Garth Brooks, and it's amazing who comes to this town. People to speak. We had George Bush was in town recently for a book signing.
Sure.
George W. And he's also been at the Riverside Theater.
Yes, he has.
Tom Brokaw. I didn't get to see him. I don't think I saw Tom Brokaw. You know, I was really impressed with who was there this year. You had me come over. It was the guy who wrote All the President's Men.
Oh, Bob
Bob
Woodward.
Woodward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he asked the crowd, and he was ahead of it. He said, "What do you think our biggest threat is? Do you think it's Iran? Do you think it's Iraq? Do you think this?" And he said, it was Korea, North Korea, and he's proven to be right on target, you know. But he also said openly, you know, here's a Democratic guy, liberal guy like Mr. B, and he said, he said Obama froze. He says it happens, and it's not good leadership. He froze. You know, when the kids were being gassed over in was it Sudan? Syria, excuse me. You know, think about that. You get your little kids on your lap here, you know. You've got to be decisive. But, you know, I'm not saying I never froze up, so I'm not going to point the finger, but, you know, when you're the leader, you got to be able to act, you know. Now, you're a little worried, Marshall Frank. You have a new book called Americanistan.
I do.
And it's Conquest from Within. You say that there's a sign on the cover of the book that says Jihad. They're holding signs.
That's a photograph of a demonstration.
And that's their actual sign?
That's the actual sign.
It says Jihad against USA is our religious duty.
Right.
And these are all Muslims, a group of Muslims. Now, you should be being invited on I see CNN. What's CNN say? Author of #1 bestseller, The Way Things Ought to Be, speaks on CNN's On Death Row series. So, how do you think CNN would receive this book?
Not too well. Not too good. No, because there's a lot of people who are influenced by the Middle East that can't say what they really think.
Well, you know, Hitler said what he was going to do, and nobody would believe it. See, everybody wants to be friendly.
Mein Kampf. What Hitler wrote was Mein Kampf. And the Muslim Brotherhood has written the explanatory memorandum for the Muslim Brotherhood in North America, which is basically their Mein Kampf saying what they're going to do.
And what is that?
And that is conquest of the Western civilization. That's Europe and the United States and Canada. And they said they would do this. This document was written in 1981. It was discovered hidden under a basement. In other words, a basement under a basement in a Virginia home by law enforcement in 2004. And it was a very detailed document, 18 pages long, written in Arabic. And specifically, it says that we are going to destroy Western civilization from within, which is why I have that "from within" in the title of the
Americanistan, Conquest from
the
Within.
subtitle of the book. So it's they're dead serious about it, and their plan basically is in operation now. It's been in operation for the last 25 years, and it's working. That's what I try to bring out in the book.
Very patient too, because they said they waited for years
They
and
have
years
100
to
years.
blow.
100 years is a 100-year project, and through population explosions and through subversion and through the educational systems and prisons and law enforcement and government and things like that. They've gained a tremendous amount of influence. When you think about 25 years ago, we never talked about these people, ever. Rarely.
Now, I can understand. I don't want to pull you into this, but you're Cuban. No, hey, Cuban. Now, so the first thing you're going to do. Well, first of all, I'm Irish, so I was an immigrant.
Okay.
But everybody comes and they go, I can understand what somebody said, well, I'm Cuban, we came here as immigrants, and they don't want to feel like they're prejudiced. But this is a whole nother ball of wax.
Well,
it's like Hitler said what he was going to do, and then he did it. If you look throughout history, these despots say what they're going to do. These guys have said, it's right here. It's in black and white. Look at the cover. They're holding the sign. It says, Jihad against USA is our religious duty. And what is jihad?
Jihad technically means struggle, all right? But the jihad that they're referring to, it depends on how they want to use the term. But a struggle towards conquest is basically what they're talking about. And now we tend to focus on violence and terrorism as being what we have to pay attention to. And while we're paying attention to the terrorism and the incidents of bombings and shootings and things like that, all the subversive activities going on over here we're not paying any attention to. And that could very well be the purpose of terrorism, because it isn't just to kill random people.
Well, we just celebrated the 4th of July.
We did.
Now, I just wonder if the problem is as formidable as we think it is in this way. How come there were no bombings on the 4th of July? I expected it to be.
That would be speculation. That would be total speculation.
What do you mean?
But how do we know how to answer that?
Okay.
I mean, because they didn't have bombings on the 4th of July, maybe we're being too nervous about it because we expected the bombings.
I just don't think our police force can protect us to the degree if they want to do something. You know.
Well, if they couldn't protect us from 9/11, I mean, that was a bigger death count than Pearl Harbor was in 1941. So, I mean, police officers, that would have nothing to do with the 4 airplanes flying out of the sky to randomly kill 3,000 people. And I suspect that probably one day is going to be small compared to what's coming.
What do you think is coming? You say that in your book?
I stay off the topic of terrorism in the book mainly because it's a distraction.
How so? What do you mean?
Because what I'm talking about in the book is the methods that the Muslim Brotherhood is using to gain advancement of the jihad.
And what is that?
Through subversion.
Okay, how? Well,
all right.
Give me a for
infiltrate the governments, infiltrate prison systems.
That's why the mayor of London is now Muslim.
There's about 7 or 8 mayors in England altogether are now Muslims.
And now we have mayors also that are Muslim in the U.S.?
I don't know. I don't know of a major city.
Yes.
I don't think of any major
cities. I forget
cities.
where it is. It's not Detroit, is it?
No, I
want to say somewhere in Ohio, maybe Cleveland or something like that.
But in England, they have places where they have signs posted all over England. You are now entering a Sharia zone. It says very outwardly. And the Sharia zone means in this little pocket of population, which is all Muslim, we're going to do things the way we want to do things.
You can't form your own country here in the USA. Get the hell out.
Well,
no.
Right now there are 22 enclaves in this country where they have done that.
Well, who the heck has let in them do that? What idiot has let?
How far you want to go back?
Yeah. I mean, they don't even allow the Muslims. They don't even allow the Mormons to marry 2 wives now. You go to jail for what's it called?
Polygamy.
Yeah. So they let the Mormons can't do that, but these guys can make women wear burqas.
Go to Google and Google the word Islamburg. All right. Islamburg is a little enclave in New York State, upstate, and it's about 300 acres, in which is owned by somebody from Pakistan, and it's Muslim only, and they practice the faith and the ideology the way they want to practice it, and people are not necessarily allowed in on the road. There's a guard at the road, and if you're not there by invitation, you're turned away.
Well, that's completely legal.
And also, if neighbors and have heard shots being fired. They assume it's some kind of training exercise going on in there or something. We don't know. But there's about 22 enclaves in the country right now. There's 2 in New York. There's 2 in Georgia. 1 in South. Most of them are on the east side.
And yet, when Winston Churchill told Parliament, he said, "Stop selling these planes to the Germans. They're up to something." They said, "Why don't you retire, you old fart?" That's what they actually said to him. And later on, that same man who they said was so old he should retire, they wanted him to be the
Prime Minister.
Yeah, Prime Minister, and went on to walk into history. And they say, if it wasn't for Winston Churchill, perhaps in America today, we would be talking in German.
It's possible.
Very possible.
But as soon as the war was over, they dumped Churchill. As soon as the war was over.
That's the people. Yeah, he said when he felt a power within him, though, that it was a destiny. And I believe there was. You hear these stories of. So I wonder who will what.
I got to tell you one of Churchill's famous quotes. He was at a luncheon or dinner or something with a lot of famous people. He was sitting at the dais, and the woman next to him looked at him and said, "Mr. Churchill, you're drunk." And of course, Winston did do some drinking. Mr. Churchill, you are drunk. And Churchill said, that's quite true, madam. But tomorrow I will be sober and you're ugly.
Hey! Would be great tobacco. This is the mayor of the airways. Buenos dias, buenos tardes, buenos noches. Hey, Gloria, Senor Jesus, amigo.
Nice.
I love your little Spanish words. Just putting them all together.
I call it
Doesn't make sense,
pseudo-Spanish.
You know what doesn't sound right? Cubano.
Cubano.
It's not,
Is that right?
No,
Cubano.
It's Cubano.
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 Like a COO.
Cubano. I want some Cuban bread today. You make me hungry for Cuban
Pan
bread.
Cubano.
Do you have Cuban bread at your house?
No.
You don't. You're not Cuban.
We don't.
You are
if there's a Cuban
Americanos. You become Americanos.
If there's a Cuban bakery in town, I don't know of it.
We have a Cuban store in Melbourne. That's pretty good. It's right. I don't know if you know Melbourne at all, but it's off Wickham Road, and it's a big market, very clean, very nice, and it has all the Cubano foods. You know?
Love that.
Yeah.
My mom
Yeah, I think I played the owner of that place. He was having his 50th anniversary with his wife,
that right?
and they hired a Latin band. And I went over.
What is it called? Thrifties?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
should
they're
have
from Miami.
It should have a Spanish name, but
Thrifty?
Thrifties. Oh, yeah.
So did you study arranging?
Yeah, I have a master's degree in music, so
You do?
I studied arranging and
my
all
word.
that stuff too. Mostly jazz, though. Jazz is
We've
my
been through
specialty.
2 hours, and now all this time you tell me you have a master's degree.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to
How
school?
come you don't tell
I
me?
went to the University of Miami for my undergraduate,
You see what I mean about
and then
you
UCF for my graduate
I'm
degree.
gonna be on there going, I am a doctor of music. Now I had this kid song, and I was thinking, we're gonna kid test one of my songs to see if you guys like the guy. It goes like this: as I awoke one morning, I found the secret box. So I can say it. As I awoke one morning, I found the secret box, and there on the floor beside me, I found the key to the lock. Out of the dark came my baby. It said, "Come dance." I can't remember. Hold on. See, when I get nervous, I think. The happy dance can make you brand new. If I can do the happy dance, then you can do it too. The happy dance, easy as 1, 2, 3. Just lift your hands to heaven and shake your body. As I awoke one morning, I found this secret box. And there on the floor beside me, I found the key to the lock. Out of the box came a lady. She said, "Come dance with me. Your troubles will melt away, child. Your world will turn happy." The happy dance can make you brand new. If I can do the happy dance, then you can do it too. The happy dance, easy as 1, 2, 3. Just lift your hands to heaven and shake your body. The mortgage, the money, the bills we've got to pay. The sun may be shining, the clouds get in the way. The happy dance can make you brand new. If I can do the happy dance, then you can do it too.
Do you like that?
I don't think so.
They need to be doing the happy dance while you're singing.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, let's all do it. Did you create something over that, or what?
Yeah. I'm just trying to find
Oh, like a beat.
maybe not. That's too fast on.
What's this?
No, that's not the right style. Hold on. Oh, Dixie, there we go.
show. 'Cause,
Okay, last half hour.
yep.
Eric called, he's not gonna be in, so I've got a show to put in for him.
All right.
Okay?
He's got to fix this too because the cameras don't change. You don't get the one angle. Let's hold them in. Yeah, it won't work.
All right, I'll have to let him know. Also, did I have about 15 minutes with you after we get off the air?
Yeah, why?
Before
We're
you
going to
take
talk
off?
about. Well, because I got to do interviews with him. That's the only thing. We can hang around for 10 minutes maybe.
Okay.
I promised him we're going to go out and have breakfast, and I got to interview.
Okay, yeah, I just want to go over a couple of things.
Okay.
Breakfast.
I had breakfast.
Brunch.
So you should have her cut the ribbon, so she knows what cut the ribbon
Oh,
is.
yes. I think the scissors will be bigger than she is.
Yeah, some of them are, you know, for show.
Yeah.
I read a bunch of kids songs. I should put them together, put a little,
Yeah, I can
grouping
do,
of them.
and I can do that stuff. We don't even have to be like in the same spot. We can just Skype, and then you tell me
Yeah.
what you want, and I can just
Yeah.
email, do it in a couple hours and email it to
Do
you.
we want to do something that's conventional? Like that sounds very conventional. That.
Well,
But
that's kind of
certainly
like
nothing-
Dixieland.
This one goes directly
I
this
know,
way.
but we were off the
I was
air
kind of
now.
just trying to come up with a groove for what you were just playing with that.
If you're going to do it though, so how would you do it? So if you wanted it to actually get like, I love what's his name? Who's the
Yeah,
black
we'll pick
guy
you
who
up
sang?
as well as this.
Come
Okay,
on, get
perfect.
happy.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Come
Oh, no,
on, get
Pharrell
happy.
Williams. Pharrell Williams.
Yes.
Oh, Bobby
Yeah, Happy?
McFerrin?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Pharrell Williams.
Pharrell.
You know.
I thought you were talking about Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy. But that's
That one,
too
too.
old. I'm dating myself.
Yeah. And that was
Yeah,
exceptional.
we do that song, Happy. That's a good song.
Come on, can you play?
It might sound crazy what I'm about to say. The sunshine she is here, better make a break. And like a hot air balloon that can go to space. In the end, I don't care, baby, by the way. 'Cause I'm clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Happy. I don't have my background singers. Without a roof. If you know that happiness is the truth. Actually, I do it in a different key. There it is. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you know happiness is the truth. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to do. Here come bad news, tell me listen now. Give it all you got and don't hold back.
You know, they never thought that was going to be a hit. They said it was out. It was out of, just
Style.
a style. It just wasn't the style of the day. They made that for a movie or something and thought maybe, and then all of a sudden it just took off.
Yeah, Despicable Me 2.
Is that it?
That was the one, yeah, I think. Well, same thing with that Justin Timberlake song, Can't Stop the Feeling. That was for the movie Trolls. That's... I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when you turn it on. 'Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket. You haven't heard that one yet?
No.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. That's
it
part
new?
of what I do is just stay on top of... That's the great thing about having a 14-year-old daughter. I go, what are you and your friends listening to?
Yes.
And she'll go,
Yes.
oh, you got to check out this one. It's the new Ariana Grande song. So I'm always on the cutting edge of whatever's coming out that's going to be the hip new
This
thing.
is your job coming up now, kid.
That's right. You got to keep your dad relevant.
Up to date anyway.
Yeah, well, there's nothing ages faster than a pop song. And they just they come in, they go out, they
You
come
must
back,
remember this.
Here's what I used to do. Believe it or not, I used to fly in and they would have me sing at business conventions. I used to sing positive thinking songs.
That's cool.
And I still have the CD, the cassette. The only problem is they're 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and it's like I sound like Neil. Let's say aim high, reach for the sky. You've
Yeah.
a tendency, and I'd have I'd sell these cassettes, and I was doing really
Stand by
well.
the
But
studio.
the thing
This
is,
is the last
maybe
spot
they're
before
so
the
old now then maybe young people might embrace them, because the young people now are embracing the Beatles.
Yeah, a lot of the new
cycle
songs
comes
sounds
around.
like 70s disco. That's like kind of like
Well,
what
that I
everything's
don't
starting
like.
to sound like. Well, I at least it's better than
My
the.
nephew's into that techno pop. Blah.
Yeah,
Well, you
you
probably
know,
like it as a keyboardist.
I'd rather have people playing. The trend was samples and DJs just mixing in stuff, and
Yeah.
now it's getting back to
Well-
people actually playing instruments
Yeah.
and playing the parts, which I'm okay. That's much better. I'd rather have that go on than than just
You play regular piano too, right?
Yeah, I play regular piano.
Okay, because I wrote this song that I want to do. I want to record it with all wood instruments, but it's in celebration of wood instruments.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got you can throw in all kinds.
Bixby is here. Where are we going to put him?
I have a wood violin.
We'll sit over there.
No, but Bixby's not going to be on. That's okay. He's going to take pictures later, right?
Okay, he asked me, are we on till 10:30, so I assumed he was going in. But anyway, stand by.
Ask him if he wants to come in or not.
He's in the can now.
You're listening to the sounds of Ken Gustafson. Really nice. Tasty,
Thanks, man.
tasty. He has his master's degree, which now he tells me, after being on my show for, a year and a half now? Now he tells me, suddenly I say, I asked the right question. He has a master's degree. You can catch him frequently at the Riverside Theater, which is the Howl at the Moon, Friday nights from 7:30 to like 9-something. Then they have a 9:30 show, and that's both Friday and Saturday nights over at the Riverside Theater. And so it's always good to see you, Ken. Yeah,
Always good to be here.
I hope we can do some work together in the future, only because he's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. But a lot of musicians, just like a lot of people really, sort of carry an arrogance, And
Really?
And Ken, well, I
haven't noticed that.
No?
I've known a lot of musicians.
No, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it's me. Maybe they say you see what you are. Maybe I had a problem in that area. I'm sure I had a problem. But I'm like at the high school. Those kids all have humility because they all know in this orchestra they rely on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's the star. It's like a baseball team. They win you like the World Series? I'd love to watch the World Series. But all of a sudden they're going, and they go, well, who's the star? And they go, take this one out. No, that's not him. Okay, put him back in. Take this one and take the picture out. No, that's not him. They're all as a unit, and that's if you look at Mick Jagger, and I get to see some things other people don't see, but that guy has humility. Okay, he prances on the stage, he's having fun, but he's not egotistical. He's the kind of guy, if he was in this room right now and said, "Oh, I'm going to go get a cup of tea. Would you like me to get you one?" He has a servant's heart, and I think that's the same way about Ken. Ken has humility.
Well, and I think ability goes with that. Like if
ability and humility.
Yeah, if you are confident in your abilities, then you tend to be humble and come to music with the mind of a student always. Even if you're, a master of your craft, I listen to beginning students that go, I wrote this little song, and they play something. I go, wow, that's really interesting. So.
Did you have good parents?
Yeah, my folks are awesome. My dad was he wanted to be a musician, and he had very unsupportive parents. My grandparents were,
So he didn't do it.
Right, he didn't do it.
See?
But with me, I showed an interest.
Here's my point, though. You've ended up being successful at this. Garth Brooks, who I met and interviewed, his parents believed in him. He had a stable upbringing. He was also the what do you call it in the football team? The quarterback. And you learn that's a unit, and so you have to have humility to all work together as a team. And then it comes around, then we look at somebody else who maybe is egotistical, who wants to do it, but thinks they really can't, so they have feelings of inferiority. But maybe that's like your dad. They had people telling him, you can't do that,
Yeah.
you know, and then we look at somebody, maybe they get arrogant or pushy or something, we think, but you don't know their history. Maybe it's because they were put down, they're trying to climb up,
Yeah.
you know. That's why we all have to have mercy on each other.
Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I knew a piano player that worked at Howl at the Moon, and when
Yeah.
he started, he was the new guy on the team, and we're all piano players. We all play together, and that's our dueling pianos. That's what we do. It's not really like we fight. We're actually helping each other.
Yeah.
And this guy showed up and just had a chip on his shoulder, and so
It didn't work out.
rather than engage in that, I said, "Hey, why don't we go have a beer after work?" And I said to him, I said, "Why are you acting like this? Like I'm 10 times better than you are. I
You
shouldn't."
said that to
yeah,
him?
I said, I've been doing this. How long you been doing this? 3 years? I'm 20 years in this business.
Yeah.
Why are you acting like this? And he admitted, he said, "I'm terribly self-conscious. I'm just, it's a defense mechanism."
Did that help him let it down?
Yeah, because I told him, I said, everyone thinks you're just being,
An idiot.
kind of, you're being like,
But
a
look at
star
you were
diva.
kind to come to him. Even the Bible says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, better than the kisses of an enemy. A friend will tell you got bad breath. Your enemy's not going to tell you. So there you were a friend to him.
I was, and
Didn't
I
change
told,
him.
and he actually, when he left the club, he got another gig up in the Carolinas. He said, "Thank you so much for your assistance. What is there anything I can do for you?" I said, "Pay it forward." I said, "Don't do anything for me.
Maybe
I
you
did
should stay
this
in
for
touch with
you.
him, too.
You do it for someone else."
I just saw last night, where was I watching? Was it this morning or last night? These young kids were troublemakers, and a cop got killed somewhere in America, and they named the local baseball park after him. Well, then the cops all came. Marshall, you're a cop. 30 years. They took these kids in, and they taught them baseball. All the detectives, everybody came, and they would come on weekends and train the kids up.
Was this in
Now
New
they
York?
have pictures.
Was this New York?
Yes, they have pictures of you see little Sebastian here now, and then years later, and then he was a cop. They became cops. They became cops. They became professional baseball players because somebody took the time to invest in a child. So
Important.
By the way, are you sold out for the
Howl?
for the camp?
Well, we have summer camps. You mean for
Yeah.
the kids?
Yeah.
There's always room. We'll always make room for a
I
child.
loved summer camp. My favorite part was in the afternoon when they gave you a blankie, and then they gave you chocolate milk and a cookie.
Blankie.
Yeah, my little blankie.
You get nap time.
Nap time.
I would enjoy nap time now.
Yeah.
But no,
I'd enjoy nap time.
I would. I think the kids don't get nap time, but they have the ability to really bring out the little star in them. They get to learn how to perform. They get to learn how
cool.
to sing and work as a team to choreograph a number. So.
Do you know that
all these are
Barbara's
tribes-
son, who's now a professor of archaeology, he's a doctor of archaeology, and he was just up in Vermont with us. He is now a professor here at this Indian State College, Indian River State College. I guess he is the archaeology department. But anyway, he used to go to Riverside Theater.
It helps.
And they had him. Now, he's not going to be a performer, but in fact, as a professor, he is performing.
Yeah,
He's in front of a crowd.
absolutely.
And I bet you this gives young kids, the skill to be able to stand in front of a live audience.
Absolutely.
And right?
It gives them confidence. It gives them the ability to not be afraid in front of
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
to work together as a team, because we realize that life is a team effort. So it's really important for kids to learn from an early age, and we do it in a fun way with the theater.
You know what I like to do? I like to find some kid. I was going to ask one of your children here. Alicia's here today, and so is Sebastian. But they may not have a proclivity for writing, but they might. But what I'm looking for is a child that's going to come to that camp who does want to be a writer, like Debbie Maycomber was writing when she was 7, and then be willing to keep a diary of the week-long experience. And reflecting on how they're changing, or what's going on, or this person was shy, now she's not, or this, or what we learned this technique, or whatever, because that would be a great vehicle to either hand out or put it into a little book form for kids to show why coming to the Riverside Theater camp for kids in the summer is the thing to do.
Cool. Thank you. That's a
Might
good idea.
change lives.
Sure. Sure.
But you have to find the right kid. You can't just say, "Okay, Sebastian, you're going to write." So I was like, I don't want to write. If he doesn't want to write, he's not going to write. It's one thing I've learned about radio. In the year, you'll get a new client on, and you go, "Hey, come on, we're going to invite you in the radio," and then all of a sudden you don't hear back from the new client. Well, they said, "Well, I didn't really want to go on the radio."
Yeah, right.
Never force somebody.
That's right.
Because it's not going to be good anyway. You know.
Nope.
Oh, I want you to voice your ad. No, I don't want to voice my ad. Don't push it. You have a professional voice their ad.
Sure.
But sometimes they do want to voice it. I like to get doctors to voice their ads because then people get comfortable with hearing that doctor's voice when they meet them, like Dr. Steinfeld or Dr. Mallon or whatever. Although those two don't really do their own ads, but
You do it for
but they do interviews.
Sure.
You know.
That's important.
But anyway, so
I have a foundation up in Brevard County called the Creative Arts Foundation of Brevard. It's a non what do you call
Profit.
it? It's a non-profit. And I've been running this now for about 10 years.
Really?
And it all started with a prodigy. The little girl was 13 years old. They wanted me, I'd play violin, so they said, "Well, do you want to hear this little girl play violin?" And I said, "Not really. I twinkle, twinkle. I don't need to hear that." But they insisted, and they said, "She's pretty good." I said, "Okay." So she comes over with her mother, who plays piano, and she played this extremely difficult first movement of a concerto. And it was a jaw-dropping experience. I mean,
did you have tears in your eyes?
No, I was awestruck. I was awestruck. I mean, I immediately worshipped this kid.
Wow.
She was 13. She looked like 9. She was so skinny. She could hardly hold up the violin. Her arms like twigs, little teeny fingers, and she played with dexterity and perfect intonation. Extremely difficult piece. And all I wanted to do was interrogate her like she was somebody I found in a case to interrogate. And I asked her, I said, who's your favorite violinist? And she said, Jascha Heifetz.
Wow.
And I said, Jascha Heifetz. I said, he died 20 years ago, or even longer. She said, "I know, but he's the greatest violinist." And I said, let me tell you a little story. So I went upstairs to my room where I keep my scrapbooks. And I came back down with a program, because I met Jascha Heifetz in 1949.
Oh, my word.
And he signed my program in blue ink.
Wow.
And
you gave it to her.
Yeah, I did. You cut to the chase. Yeah, I did give it to her. I said, that's his little signature. Oh, she got so excited. She was jumping up and down just like a little kid would.
Oh.
And mommy, look at this. This is real Jascha Heifetz signature. And so I asked her what her ambition was. She said, "Well, someday I want to play in Carnegie Hall."
And she has, right?
Yes, she has.
Well, didn't you give her a violin?
I loaned her my violin. I have an old violin.
Oh, I thought you.
She still has it. I didn't give it to her as like it. Look, if she broke her hand or she suddenly couldn't play violin anymore, it's not hers. It's mine. You know, but I have two, so I'm not doing without. But
why is this one you gave her so special?
It's made in the 1780s in Italy.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
What is something like that worth?
It's not worth what it should be worth because we don't know the maker. All right, I've appraised 3 different experts. They all said the same thing. You know, it's a late 18th century violin made in Italy, but we don't know who the maker is. The maker's name is obliterated. And that diminishes the value of it right away.
Sure.
But it's equivalent to some of the finer violins that were made in that period.
Now, there are violins that actually sell for $3 million?
Well, the most expensive violin ever sold in an auction was a Guarnerius, was $3.5 million. Guarneri was a competitor to Stradivari.
Who can afford to buy?
But some people buy them just to have it, and then they loan it to a prodigy or something. So anyway, real quick about this girl named Esther. So I arranged to have. She didn't have any money. She wanted to compete. So I put on a fundraiser for her, and I raised $5,000, and she was able to go to Italy. She competed in Ibla, Italy. She won the competition, and the result of the competition was one of her prizes was to play a concert in Carnegie Hall.
Oh,
yeah,
my.
and so
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so, and actually, you got to go.
We did go. So because of her, we got together with some other people from Rotary Club and my wife and everything, and said, how many other prodigies are out there that don't get noticed, or they don't have the money for lessons, or don't have instruments, or things like that. And so we started this foundation, and we've given out almost $100,000 in awards and prizes and things like that.
Let me ask you this. Is it okay if I talk about some things I know about you personally? Like me.
Sure.
Like, you know,
sure.
I didn't graduate high school.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah. You dropped out,
I
which
dropped
is amazing because you've got 14 books to your credit.
Yeah.
You were a cop for 30 years, and you know music. You know enough to recognize a prodigy. So, you know, people might think, hey, you're dumb because you didn't go to high school. But where did you get all the, how did you learn about music? Like,
Well, my mother was a pianist. She was a concert pianist. And I had piano in the house all the time. I used to play by ear. I used my fingers too, but anyway. But she wanted me to be to learn music because she saw that I had an ear for music, and she picked the violin. And then, starting at age 7, I had private lessons. And
why didn't you finish high school?
Because
divorce?
I was making really no, I wasn't married in high school. But
No, I
my
meant
high
your
school was
parents.
problematic, mainly because it probably the same as you. It went too slow for me.
Actually, that is, I walked out of the, I forget the name of it, it was in Poughkeepsie, New York,
Yeah.
and the kids were throwing spitballs, and the teacher was flicking, it was a science class, flicking the, she didn't even care that she was just flicking the slides, and I said, this is not school, this is just a babysitter program, and I said, I want to learn. So I went out, I quit, 9 months later got my GED. I was in college while my friends were still in high school for the next 3 years.
Yeah, well, I have a similar story.
But I was not a good student. I mean, I'm not
was a
Mr.
terrible
A.
student. I flunked English.
Did you go back and compensate for that by reading? Or?
No.
Well, obviously you know English now. You wrote this book right here. This is your 14th book.
Well, I could do it my way. Well, now the end is near.
No, but because to compensate for me, I went to what is it, English 101 and English 102, and I went back and took them again.
Yeah.
And then started
It
reading
was
anything I could.
Boring. So boring. Who cares what a dangling participle is? You know?
And the dangling participle and the vowels in my mind.
I would get other kids to holler here when they called my name, and while I was skipping school.
No.
Yes.
You were smart enough to do that. Huh?
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny.
Oh, I finally dropped out because my grades were so bad, and I started working full time, and then I joined the Marines and all this. And
you were going to say something. You were making more money doing what? That's why you didn't finish high school. You said you were making.
No, I wasn't
money.
making money. I had odd jobs. You know, we were fairly poor until my mother got married to a gangster. But
did you write about that yet?
Oh, it's in my memoir.
Really?
My stepfather was a bookmaker from Miami Beach.
Really?
Yeah. He got me the job as a cop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, his new book, ladies and gentlemen, is America Stan, Conquest from Within. You've done a lot of research. You see the group of Muslim men holding signs, right? Or is it Muslim men and women? I don't have my glasses
It's
on.
mostly men.
Yeah, I see all men. Okay. And they're holding an actual sign that says, Jihad Against USA is our religious duty. And this is printed out as a banner.
And the extremists actually believe that. And that's
So we've got to be watching out. Is there a way that we can thwart them? Do you give any hope in this book of yours?
well, yeah. I think if you read the whole book, I tried to write it as though I was writing a police report about ongoing criminal behavior, and then reaching based on facts.
Chapter 17. What can we do?
There you go. And this is all based on facts, from which you draw conclusions.
Okay, are you against us allowing? Do you agree with Trump that we shouldn't be allowing? We should tighten up the borders. What do you feel about that whole thing?
Well, yeah, of course.
But
That doesn't mean we hate people or we hate.
We've had
Mexicans
Spanish come here. You came here. I came here. My parents were Irish. I mean,
Well, my parents were from.
I've seen signs that said if you're Italian, you get 50 cents an hour. If you're Irish, you only get 25 cents an hour.
Here's the thing: you're immigrants. Yours, mine. When they got here, they told their kids, "You're Americans now. You speak English, have 2 languages, but speak English. You're Americans now. Be proud of
Do you
being."
think they will assimilate
American
people who are speaking Spanish in Miami?
Yes,
Because
they will.
there used to be 17 newspapers in Italian in New York City. Now there's only like 2 left. Because the generation after generation, they do assimilate.
Right.
I mean, we are our first language. It did bother me that I went down to Miami and I went to a mall and I went into the Apple store and I couldn't. It was hard finding a person who spoke English.
That's right.
I just said, no, this isn't right.
Well,
This is,
Miami has really changed. I mean, a complete upside down in 50 years. I watched the whole change take
Can
place.
you imagine if you could have bought one of those buildings over there on South Beach? That when I went there as a 13-year-old boy, all I saw was old Jewish people with walkers. Hello?
You're talking on Miami Beach.
Have you got a bagel?
Yeah.
talking about Miami
Yeah,
Beach.
I mentioned
South
you
Beach.
bought one of those little hotels.
Where did you live in Miami?
Coral Gables.
Oh.
I lived by the University of Miami.
Excuse me.
Well, no, I mean, cheap apartment in the Gables.
Okay.
Shavat, a little music on the way out.
All right, you got
See him
it.
tonight and tomorrow night at Riverside Theater. Ken Gustafson. Thank you, Marshall Frank, for coming in here. America Stand. Go to MarshallFrank.com. Thank you, Oscar Hammerstein. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Sebastian. Uncle Rhett loves you guys. Yeah!
Back in the 50s, 60s, the coach for Miami Hurricane was Andy Gustafson.
Yeah, I do remember that every time I would, the three Gustafsons they would ask me about would be Andy Gustafson. There was a Senator Gustafson, I think.
I didn't know that one.
And then there was Tom Gustafson was a roofer down in Gustafson.
Yes, I remember
was
him.
the
I
roofer.
remember his signs.
Yeah. So those were the Gustafsons. They were always like, oh, there's a Gustafson's Dairy in Tampa
Hey,
too.
it's photo time.
No relation.
Do you take pictures today? You take pictures today? Yeah. Kids want to be in the picture? Sure. Yes, you have to be in the picture. Marshall,
We'll just take a picture with them.
Long time no see. Yes, come on.
No, come on.
That one?
All right.
All right, you don't have to.
I'm good. He's got a fancy camera. It'll make your headband sparkle.
Let's get the door open. Hi.
This is the great thing about this keyboard. Portable. Battery powered.
Marshall, nice to meet you.
Oh,
Same here. I'll see you guys on Riverside sometime.
And built-in speakers, so you don't gotta,
Hello.
We'll see you later.
Yes, we'll see you later, sir.
Riverside.
Bye, nice to meet you.
Oscar, you got to be in a photo with me. You want to take an official photo?
Okay.
What do you want to take it, Bisbee?
Well, yeah, but
Let's get.
need to get there.
Who put this American flag up there?
Okay.
A volunteer can be practically anyone over the age of 14 who can appreciate the joy of giving back. It might be cleaning glassware, or it might be doing drapes, or it might be hardware that you love to work in tile. There's always something, and everybody is so glad you're here. Our furniture, home decor, building materials, and appliances turns over daily, and all products support Habitat for Humanity in Indian
So they decided they'll be in the picture?
They're going to be in the picture?
Come on, we want to.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
All right. They decided to be in the picture.
All right.
Okay.
Do we want to have, let's have Alyssa up on a chair, though? Have her up on a chair because she's so short?
Well, yeah, sure.
Come on, Alyssa. Okay, good. Good. All right. Then we'll get one with Marshall on that, too.
Yep. Oh, yeah. You can almost scoot over this way a little bit. Just a little bit.
Go down this one street.
Let's see. Let's get.
I have a brush in the other room. Do I need it?
Yeah. Why is it you go to Vermont and you look like a salty dog?
What's a salty dog?
This is 98.
Move over a little bit.
And it was, and
Okay.
everywhere we walked, because even the Dutch people knew, because I had the wall.
Gotta do things.
Nobody in Holland was long. They go, American tourists. And these guys were like, staring us down. I said to my wife, I said, I don't know where the hell we are.
Okay, I think we can do it.
Out of this place. Yeah.
This will work.
And you could almost feel the hostility. So, okay, I'm out, man. And it was
Boy,
just
everybody looks
street.
great.
And then my Dutch friends told me, yeah, never go there. The police don't go there.
That's good. Hold it one
No
more.
one, that's their spot.
Everybody looks great. My God, great smile.
Yeah, well, they did, and now you see the problems
Okay,
they had
could you-
in Rotterdam with the Turkish.
Here,
just
your
a-
glasses?
just a few, weeks ago.
Well, that's okay, except that the line that was over your
okay.
eyes. So.
I'll take them up.
Okay, oh, still looks good. How about that, huh?
And you're right, they don't assimilate. They don't go, oh, we're part
Great,
of this
thank
country
you.
now.
This
learn
is
their
good.
customs.
Great,
No, it's,
Thank you.
We're gonna keep our thing.
Okay, so now do we need to give you a box? Has anybody dropped off
No,
the new?
we have the new
I
box.
want to get my picture with you, too. Oh, we should get one with
Oh,
Ken,
nice. Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Come on.
We're going.
Awesome, guys.
We'll see you guys later.
Yep, we'll see you later.
Did I bring anything? I didn't bring anything. Okay, you got
You
your
got
stuff?
everything?
All right. My phone.
Okay.
Did you send your book to anybody like
Thank you, Rhett.
Hannity or Alex Jones or?
If I send a book to Hannity, Amazon will throw it in the ocean.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Oh, yes, I think so. I've done this before. I've sent books to
I listen to
movie
Alex Jones
producers.
almost every night for at least an hour or two. I get him on short wave.
He's good.
Yeah, everybody, you know, he's a little overboard sometimes, but he's way ahead of his time.
I'll give you a call about that seat.
Sure.
He pretty much defeated Hillary all by himself. Okay.
Good job. I might see you tonight.
What are we doing?
Great.
Are you two playing together tonight? Is that?
No, I'm playing with
okay.
another piano player, but
We need a shot of you and Rhett. Rhett!
he's outside.
Oh. Great teamwork.
Okay.
Let's get a picture.
Sounded good in my Sea Crane radio.
There you go. Seek Rain, man.
Point me in the
Good
right
stuff.
direction.
Yeah. The
Listen to Art Bell all the time.
There?
You know,
yes,
we-
Skywave radio.
Yeah.
Shortwave. I listen to like Alex
You can
Jones.
get AM from far away too.
Oh yeah, it's great. Whoop. I was to say there were no kids in there. Let's see here. Here we go. Mr. Frank. Extraordinaire. Okay, hold on. Let's go back a little bit. Oh, cross. Here we go.
Bixby's the type too. I think if you give him a copy of your book, he'd read it.
Sure.
And he listens to our show religiously every day. We get texts from
Every
him.
day?
And he also listens to. You want to do the three of us here?
Well, let's get you
Just
two
for
in
him?
here.
Okay, sweet.
And then we'll
You
do
know,
the
tight
three.
squeeze
How's
for
that?
free.
Okay.
This is a point and shoot camera. Do you believe that? With a Leica lens. Okay. Why does it want to focus on the black? Okay. There it is.
Was that
That's
a new
good.
camera from the last one you
No,
had?
no. Same.
Oh. Okay, three of us?
Three of us.
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Let's go.
Good.
Now let's do that thing where you say we do something. I like this. Believe it or not, it's a great they had us do this. I tell people to do that now too. Like
Okay.
you kind of
Okay.
get over here like this, and we're just gonna go, do something with your hands. You can do anything you want.
There you go. Put the book out there.
Yeah, there you go. Do one like that. Yeah, do one.
Okay,
like
that's fine. We'll do one like that.
Put it in front of your face. We'll do that.
Okay.
With that
Can I
one.
get all three of you in there? Oh,
Put it
I
in
gotta
front
do
of
it
your
this way.
face.
No.
There it is. Oh, I can't do the. They shut off my editing on Flickr, and I lost my computer. There we go. Okay, and yeah, it's good. We'll do one more. We'll do one more for the hell of it here. Hold the book. Hold the book right here.
Let's get one without the book too, because I've
Yeah,
embarrassed
that's
to
cool.
Tom.
Okay.
Without.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. The reason why I did it. Is that good? That's good. Okay. If I was a rich man. Ziggy. Oh, that's good. You like that? Let's do one more. Whoop. Flash. Come back. There it is. Okay.
Well, let's get one just for Frank and his book.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
the magazine.
Okay.
If I were a rich man.
Thanks so much, Rhett. Always. Good
I
to
saw
see you.
Leonard
Give
Nimoy
us the air
do
here.
Fiddler on the Roof at the Cape Cod Melody tent. In Hyannis.
Yes. I
Oh, wow.
Leonard Nimoy did it.
Wow.
He was good. That baritone voice of his. How about put this foot forward a little bit? Just this foot. Okay? Okay.
It's important to be prepared. Start now by making a plan, packing a supply kit, and registering for a special needs or pet-friendly shelter if needed.
Come on, give me
Stay ahead of the
a
storm by
smirky
signing up to
smile.
receive alerts at
There it is.
alertindyriver.com or download the Aware and
Great.
Prepare app available
Okay.
on Google Play
Thank you.
and Apple Store. To learn more or to download a disaster preparedness guide, visit irces.com.
Vero Beach Regional Airport presents the escape to the mountains. That's right. Non-stop commercial jet service has
Oh.
from Vero Beach, Florida.
Here's my
direct
take on
to Nashville,
North Korea.
Carolina on Elite Airways.
North Korea
Of course, they have service to Newark's
Can't-
Liberty
what?
International Airport,
North Korea
the
can't build
gateway to
missiles.
New York City. For more information, log
If
on
they
to
can buy missiles.
They're from China.
I don't say they buy missiles.
It's time to escape to the mountains.
from China.
Non-stop commercial jet service to
And
Asheville, North
China is
Carolina on
using
Elite
North
Airways,
Korea
free
as a
parking
bargaining chip
at the Vero Beach
to
Regional
get a better
Airport.
deal from America.
Land near
In
the
that
sea.
they'll say they'll take care of North Korea for us if we, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is. That's what, and not only that, they get to test their own, China gets to test their own missiles. And everybody thinks they're not doing anything.
I'm afraid this nutball in North Korea is going to lure people, be our president or other people in the free world, to make us feel like we have to strike first before we get struck. You know, and that it will lead to all-out war. The Seoul will be flattened out.
Right.
You know, and really bad things are going to happen.
I think it's all
and North
posturing.
Korea has nothing we want.
Right. And so China is using them for a bargaining chip,
Yeah.
for a better deal
Yeah.
on trade. Okay?
Yeah.
I think that's the only
probably
reason.
right.
That's after about maybe out of the 15 professional opinions